Diary of a Wimpy Kitten, a cat's tale of heroism and courage. Children's adventure stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Meow was a shy, timid, wimpy kitten. Other cats always teased him, calling him Meow Cow and other names. He didn't know why, but Meow always hated water. His dread for the substance was an innate fear he could not overcome, or so he thought. As the events of this book unravel, the main cat character will be tested, tried, and downtrodden. But as he learns to master his doubts and fears, he will show the rest of the world what he is made of. Read the inspiring story of Meow the cat, an animal stuck with a questionable personality trait, but with an iron will, who is about to change his life and the life of those around him completely. Chapter 1. I Hate Water. With 7 sisters, Meow was the youngest of 8. His mother was protective of him. Every mother with that family structure would be. However, this wasn't always in Meow's best interest. He got spoiled, pampered. His sisters always took care of him, and his mother wouldn't let him try out anything, afraid that he might fall, break something, or worse than anything, drown. Meow sometimes came in contact with kittens that belonged to other cats. "You are a wimp," some kittens said. "You are the only boy, and you have 7 older sisters. That makes you smaller than a girl," some male kittens would tease him. "Your sisters are stronger than you," another kitten said. And they were. Whenever this would happen, Meow's sisters stood up for him. "Leave him alone," they would say, "or you will have to answer to us." They had good intentions, but in the long run, it didn't help. Having your sisters stand up for you doesn't really make you a hardcore cat. It makes you look weak. But this wasn't the worst thing that happened to Meow. Meow was terribly afraid of water. He hated it. He dreaded it. He wouldn't even come near it. Just hearing the word water made him shrink in terror. One time, he fell in and believed he almost drowned. Others said he was just being a wimp and should get a spine, whatever that meant. He nearly drowned. Couldn't they see how dangerous that was? Besides, a lot of water isn't really sanitary, right? There are all kinds of bacteria, and you can get diseases. If you look at the world history, millions of cats have died because of water. That's the truth. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever to not be afraid of water. With this belief, Meow made sure he stayed away from it as far as possible. Chapter 2. The Big Boat. Meow was ready to play. He had been trying to catch mice all day, but he was tired of it. He found a ball of yarn and tried to make it jump up. The yarn got stuck in his claws. Whoops! Get it out! Why is this stuff so complicated? Ha! Got it! Hey, what's that? He thought. He saw something running through the streets. Meow decided to follow it. He came closer and closer, sneaking into the shadows and waiting for the correct moment to jump on it, whatever it was. "Gotcha!" Meow shouted as he jumped on what he thought was a living creature. It was a can. Hey, where's the thing that walked away? Suddenly he looked around and saw a mouse sticking his tongue out at him. "Try to get me, you silly cat! You're good for nothing! You haven't even caught a mouse all day!" the mouse said. "That's not true," Meow yelled back. "I caught at least—" Then he thought deeply. The mouse was right. Meow hadn't caught anything that day. It had been a very unproductive day for him. No wonder he was tired of it. But that was going to change right now. "Oh yeah? I'll show you, tiny mouse! You're going down!" he screamed as he started running towards the mouse. The mouse ran away as fast as it could. They ran through the streets, jumped over fences, slid under a lady's skirt, bumped into a fat guy, leaped over a little girl, slid through sidewalk chalk, continued their chase, and went on and on and on. Wow! Meow stopped. They were near the harbor. He didn't like the harbor because, well, the harbor is next to the sea, of course. But that mouse dared him to catch him. He was going to catch the mouse. He ran after the mouse, who had almost disappeared. There it is! He ran onto a ship anchored at the harbor. The mouse had disappeared. Meow was tired of running. This wasn't good at all. Where did the mouse go? All of a sudden, he felt the ship moving. Oh no! What was happening? He ran towards the edge, wanting to jump back, but the boat was already too far away. It had left the shore, and it wasn't going to go back anytime soon. Now what? Meow was terrified of falling into the water, so he decided to find a safe place. He hid under a stack of crates and fell asleep. Meow woke up by a sudden jerk. The ship had been sailing for a few hours now and had entered a storm. "I don't want to die!" Meow cried immediately. Chapter 3. Surviving. The ship was rocking back and forth. Water was flowing over onto the deck. The sails were flapping in the wind, and the crew was shouting orders and trying to get the ship damaged in the least possible way by organizing the crates and cargo that was being pushed back and forth by the movements of the ship. Thunder struck often, and lightning flashes blinded Meow's eyes. The thunderstorm was bolstering and frightening, to say the least. Suddenly, a gush of wind threw Meow into the ropes. Meow held on for life. He saw the dangerous, dark sea turn into a monster, or so he thought. It was going to eat him. It was evil. Meow meowed as hard as he could, but nobody could hear him. The storm was too loud, and most of the crew hadn't even seen him. They didn't even realize he had gotten on board anyway. Meow held on for a few more minutes, but his strength was failing him. He wanted to get back on the deck, but he couldn't hold any longer and let go of the rope. The wind swung Meow into the open sea. "Meow!" Meow screamed. He went under, tried to catch his breath, went under again, and managed to keep his head above the water for a few seconds. This continued for minutes. "I am dead," he thought. "This is it. If there is a cat heaven, that's where I will be in a few moments." Still he kept struggling, trying out the few swimming techniques he had been taught by his patient mother. Left, right, left, right. This was actually working. Kind of. His head went under the water again, and he spat out the water, chokingly looking where he could get onto the ship again. As he went underwater again, he had a hard time getting up to the surface. Meow sank deeper and deeper. This really seemed to be the end of his life. There was no way he could survive this. He closed his eyes for a few seconds. Then he heard a voice. Huh? A voice under the water? Meow opened his eyes and saw another cat. She was huge, and she actually looked kind of pretty, Meow thought. "Who are you?" Meow asked. "I am not really here," the cat said. "But if you want to know, my name is Remedy. I am a spirit cat protector of other cats." "A what now?" Meow inquired with a surprised look on his face. "I protect cats when they are in need. Did you ever hear of cats having 9 lives? Well, they really don't have 9 lives in the literal sense. It's just that each time they almost die, and I save them 8 times. Meow did the math in his head. Yeah, that sounded about right. "And then what? You are just going to save me, and that's it?" Meow asked. "No, silly. Each time your life is saved, you will learn something new. We are put into difficult situations to learn from them, not just to go through them. Each time a cat nearly dies, there is a lesson to be learned," Remedy explained. "Are you ready for your lesson, Meow?" "I have no idea what you're talking about, but whatever it is, go ahead and tell me," Meow replied. "Pay attention. Here is the lesson. You have been afraid of water because it posed a risk to your life, but you have never learned to control it, to master it. When you do, you will find out how amazing water actually is, and how amazing you are. You underestimate your potential because you give up too easily. You don't like water because it's hard to swim, but the very currents that you have to fight against could improve your skills and work your muscles. Life isn't supposed to be easy, just worth it. Do you understand?" "Yeah, I do, Remedy, but now what?" "Good question. Now that you know what I mean, you're ready to go back up. See you at the next near-death experience," Remedy said as she waved him goodbye. Before he knew it, Meow woke up, coughing up water and having his head above the surface. He started swimming, and he kept swimming for 20 minutes, even when he felt tired. Maybe there was hope. After some time, he saw the shore. "Yes, I am going to make it," he thought to himself. "From now on, I am going to be strong. I am going to face my challenges and turn them into something better. When something is hard, I will just try my hardest and stop complaining. This way, others will be able to rely on me, and I can be an example, not a wimp." With his newfound confidence, Meow reached the shore and went to his family. Chapter 4: The Bad Omen. That night, Meow had a terrible dream. It was intense, and it felt real. He was in his hometown, the harbor city of Angleton, but in his dream he was outside roaming the streets. He looked around him and noticed a green butterfly fluttering around, going from flower to flower and calmly floating on the cool breeze. He saw the homely family and the laughter of the children. Fathers were playing with their sons. Mothers were talking to their daughters and other women in the neighborhood. Everything seemed fine. Everyone was happy. Suddenly, a huge wave that reached above the rooftops of the Angleton houses crushed the trees, swept away the families, made children drown, and destroyed the homes it touched. As his vision soared above the city to look at the scene from above, he could see the whole town of Angleton disappear under water. It was horrible. People were dying, and buildings were demolished. The town had sunken into the sea. He looked beyond the horizon and saw a dam that had been holding some of the river water back. It was broken. It had cracked down the middle, letting all the water through. That was the cause. If only they could have prevented the dam from breaking. Then he woke up. The nightmare was over. His muscles tensed before he slowly started to regain a sense of reality. It was all just a dream. Phew, glad it wasn't real. He sighed and went about his day. He had dinner with his sisters and his mom. "Mom," he said, "I can swim now. I am not afraid of water anymore." "That's great, son. Eat the rest of your lunch," his mom answered. "Yes, Mom." Meow kept eating and went to play with his sisters. They played with a ball, with other children, and with someone holding a laser light. It was very challenging to catch the light. Why didn't it ever get caught? And why were the kids laughing every time he caught it? Silly laser. Meow didn't get it. Then he saw something else. It was a green butterfly. Chapter 5: The Upcoming Disaster. Meow was shocked. A green butterfly. Did that mean something? Maybe not. There were enough green butterflies around. Still, Meow didn't feel comfortable with this odd coincidence. He followed the butterfly as it kept fluttering away. Major déjà vu. Meow saw the butterfly fluttering from flower to flower. Meow put his nose into the air. It felt like the same cool breeze as he thought he felt in his dream. He looked around and saw families playing and talking on the streets of Angleton. This can't be good, he thought. He had to warn them. Something terrible was going to happen. But who would listen to a cat? And, oh yeah, he couldn't talk anyway. Meow felt perplexed. He knew what was going to happen, yet he felt helpless and powerless. Then he saw the mayor of Angleton, and he got an idea. He ran towards the mayor and his associates. "Aha, a fussy cat," the mayor said with a fancy high-class accent. "Looks kind of cute. Hi, cat, how are you?" Meow decided to do the only thing he could do. He jumped up and took the mayor's hat. Needless to say that this hat cost a fortune, so the mayor really wanted it back. "Come back, you weird cat!" the mayor cried out as he ran after Meow. "Where is he going?" one of his associates asked. "Let's follow him." The group of rich men had a difficult time keeping up with Meow. They didn't work out much, and some of their fat bellies were wobbling up and down as they ran uphill to get the expensive hat back. Finally, they reached the dam. That's where Meow stood still. "Come on, Cat, give us back the hat," the men said, approaching him slowly. "Wow, look at the dam," one of them suddenly said. "I am glad we came here. Look at that." Chapter 6. From Kitten to Cat. The dam was all right, actually, but the mayor's colleague wasn't pointing at the dam itself. He was pointing at a huge boulder in the distance. It was so big that it could crush the dam if it got hit. "We cannot let that boulder hit the dam. It would be a disaster," the mayor exclaimed. "But who can climb up there? It looks like it is about to fall down any minute," his associate said. "What we need to do is put a smaller rock at the foot of that boulder to hold it back temporarily, at least until we have a better solution and we can get a team to get rid of it." "I completely agree," the mayor said. "Go ahead." "I can't climb up there. Just look at me. Just look at all of us. Unless—" "What? What are you thinking of?" the mayor asked impatiently. "Maybe if we give the cat a rock, he can take it up there. It already took us here. I don't think that was a coincidence. We'll throw a cookie there and have the cat carry the rock or something." "You are crazy," the mayor said. "The cat doesn't know what he is doing." With that being said, Meow took a rock and carried it in the hat. "Well, would you look at that?" the mayor said in a surprising voice. "It's like the cat understands what we are trying to do." The mayor gave Meow a bigger rock, and Meow carried it to the top of the hill. It was very heavy and annoying to carry, but Meow did the best he could and managed to get it to the top, where the boulder was about to fall down. He put the rock in front of the boulder, which stopped the boulder from rolling any farther. The mayor and his associates cheered out loud. "Yay! This cat is awesome! He just saved the city! Let's go back to the city and get a cleanup team to get rid of that boulder. The cat bought us some time. We are saved!" Chapter 7. The Happiest Cat on the Block. Meow felt proud of himself. He had received a medal, which he was wearing all day. The mayor and his associates took him to town and declared to the population that this cat was a hero. He saved the city and should be rewarded accordingly. Nobody ever teased Meow again. Other kittens wanted to play with him. They kept asking him about the hat, the boulder, and the dam. He told the story over and over again, and of course it got changed every time somebody told it to someone else. But he was okay with that. One day, the entire cat family was invited to the mayor's home. The mayor and his wife were friendly and fed them as many snacks as they wanted. "Honey," the mayor's wife finally said, "these cats have nowhere to go. How about we take them into our home?" "Well, only if they want to. What do you think, cats? Does that sound like a good idea?" A loud meow by all the cats was the answer. Chapter 8. Rescued. When we walked outside the pyramid, another 20 people were standing there. Some of them clapped, others were just staring, and 2 of them were measuring the size of the structure. "Bravo! Bravo!" some of the villagers said. "Young man," one of the men said who was measuring the bricks, "I would like to talk to you about the design of this pyramid. How did you do it? Can you make more of them?" "Why do you want to know all that?" I asked. "What's it to you?" "Well," he said, "my associate and I are working for a theme park in the big city. We are always out for new ideas, and I think your maze could be a major attraction in our roller coaster park. An Egyptian pyramid adds a certain theme to a section of the park, and—" I don't really remember what he said afterwards. Just a bunch of blah blah about schemes and construction and stuff. All I know was that it was one of the happiest moments of my life. I was proud of myself. The people loved it. For the first time in my life, I felt like they understood me, that they appreciated my art and my eccentric way of thinking. "Hi," Melanie said as she walked up to me. Shyly, she glanced at the ground as her face became red. "Your building looks magnificent," she said. "It's amazing that you're able to build stuff like that." Thanks," I stammered. She walked towards me and kissed me on my right cheek. I haven't washed that cheek for 3 days now. "Everything is great now. I find pleasure in designing buildings. The theme park has accepted my plans, and the librarian found a lot of books for me to read about architecture. I don't have much else to say. I think I'm going to sleep now. Just know that if you read my diary, I had to start from scratch, but I literally built my way up and feel better than I ever did before. And my mom, she is more proud of me than a peacock. My brother would have been proud of me too. See you in heaven, buddy." Diary of a Hungry Caterpillar. The Starving Caterpillar with No Name. Kids' Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Have you ever wondered what goes through the mind of a caterpillar? In this book, you can find out about the thoughts and feelings of a caterpillar who was always hungry and didn't know his name. Because he didn't remember his name, he was confused about his identity, which made him very grouchy, and even more hungry, of course. In the deep jaws of the lava cave, he will have to look for a magical object which can help him find his way home. I won't spoil the rest. You'll just have to see what else he is up to in this adventurous story told by none other than the caterpillar himself. Chapter 1. Hungry. "Hi, my name is... Well, I don't remember my name. That's just the whole dilemma. I am a caterpillar. I am always hungry. I eat leaves, little berries that fall on the floor, pieces of acorn, and lots of other stuff. In this diary, I will tell you how I found my purpose and my family. I wasn't always with them, you know. I was all by myself. I hated it. It was a lonely life. The reason why I didn't have anyone to be with was because I had amnesia, which is basically the same as a deficiency in the brain that causes memory loss. I remembered how to walk around, how to make things, how to write or talk or sing. I could remember all that, but for some odd reason, I forgot who I was. My name was lost. Let me tell you about my day in the woods." "Who are you?" some other caterpillar asked me when I passed their house in a tree trunk. "What's it to you?" I asked. "Who are you?" "We are the Evans. We've lived here since 10 years ago. Where do you live?" "I don't ask you what color underwear you like best, do I? Mind your own business," I sneered. You see, not having a name made me doubt myself. I got grumpy when people asked about it. It was just another confirmation that nobody cared. Of course, that wasn't really true, but I had just lost my family. The woods were full of caterpillars. Just like ants, they lived in groups, thousands of them. You could find them in tree trunks, like I mentioned before, but also in holes in the ground, under bushes, in moss, tall grass, and many other locations that provided a safe place to hide. Between those many caterpillars, I had a hard time finding anyone I recognized. That day was a dreadful day. Oh yeah, let me explain. It was the day I lost my memory and therefore my family. I had a name once, and a last name too, but my family had been separated. It was raining that morning. As usual, we didn't go outside much, but this time it was like we were being flushed out of our homes. The storm was heavy, there were rain and hail, lightning and thunder. A thick fog covered most of the forest, and the water filled up holes and gaps everywhere. The other caterpillars called it a monsoon. At the time, I didn't realize what that word meant, but now I have been robbed of my innocence. Monsoons can be terrible. On that day, it meant so much rain that the forest flooded and the water came at least 10 feet high. Okay, maybe 6 or 7 feet. My point is that it was flowing heavily and going everywhere. Hold on, my mom shouted at us as we were hiding behind a tree from the waves. It's coming, Mom, my sister said. We'll drown, my brother yelled. I'm going to help your father up and then he can lift you up so you can be safe on the branches of this tree like us, she said. Mom was brave. She had climbed up one of the high branches and reached for my dad to come up too. After some pulling, she succeeded, and my dad ran towards us. I was in between my brother and sister and was terrified. Grab my tail, my dad said as he reached for my two siblings. They got a hold of his tail and reached the branch he was on. But I wasn't so lucky. I missed. I couldn't grab his tail. Instead, I was swept away by the incoming wave until I hit another tree. I heard my parents call my name in the distance, hoping for me to swim or jump back. Mom, Dad, I yelled. But it was too late. I had already been pulled away so far by the current that my parents disappeared out of sight. I was tossed back and forth by the water, thinking it wouldn't be too much longer until I would drown. Bang! I hit a tree. My head hurt. However, I was still conscious and fighting the dangerous streams of water. I kept my face above the water so I could breathe, but every so often I would be swept under and was forced to catch my breath again after reaching the surface. Bang! A branch hit my head. This was it. It was over. I couldn't remember much after that. They said I had been out for hours. When I woke up, I saw 3 caterpillars who had carried me out of the water after the branch hit my head. They took care of me and made sure I could recover. But I had forgotten my origin. I didn't know where I came from, and when they asked me, I wasn't able to tell them anything. That is the sad story of how I lost my name and my family. This made me even hungrier. Chapter 2. The Name is Lost. Dude, I am starving, I complained. There I was. I was lost, and I knew nothing better to do than to mope around for a few days. My rescuers had already left me, seeing that I was okay. I understood. It was okay. They had others to attend to. The whole forest was a mess after the monsoon. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who lost a family member or friend, but I doubted anyone else lost their name. I was really upset because I wasn't even able to find them for that reason. How could I find the caterpillars I was looking for if I didn't know their names? I didn't even know my own. The water level had lowered. The ground was safe to walk upon. I realized that I had been living in a tree for a few days, and not just in there, but just on the branches. That was my first time sleeping on branches. Glad I didn't fall off. Hey, buddy, what are you doing up there? A caterpillar from beneath asked me. Just waking up from a long night's rest, I said. You were sleeping up there? He asked in disbelief. Sure, nothing better than a comfy tree branch to keep you from drowning in the currents of a monsoon, I said. Well, it's okay now. Why don't you come down? He was right. Why not? I jumped from branch to branch until I hit the soil the tree was in. He introduced himself. My name is Andy, he said. What's yours? I don't know, I admitted. Awkward name. Never heard that one before, he mumbled. Okay, I don't know. Where are you from? No, I corrected him. My name is not I don't know. I said that because I literally don't know my own name. I have amnesia. I forgot my name and my family's name. So sorry, but I can't tell you where I'm from either. I have lived in this forest all my life, but where exactly, I'm not sure. That's horrible, Andy said with a great sense of drama. I would hate to be alone. I come home to my family each day. Let me help you look for them. Well, how am I ever going to find them if I don't know their names, nor my own? I asked. Let me take care of that. I always find a solution. Trust me, he said with a smile on his face. For now, we have to call you something. How about Dopey? I don't like Dopey, I said. Well, Mopey then, he suggested. I don't like that one either. Let me think. What's a cool name? Aha! Soreo. Soreo? Where did you get that idea?
I don't know, but it sounds strong and powerful. Could you call me Soreo until I find my original name?
Sure, no problem. Now let's find someone who knows what to do about this. Chapter 3. Allergic.
Mom, Andy called after guiding me to his parents' home. Where are you? We stepped inside. The house was a hole in the ground, nothing more. It was somewhat polished by Andy's dad, who had made the edges smooth and had provided an interesting-looking entrance. I'm in here, his mom shouted back. We went into their main living space and said hi to Andy's siblings. They were very friendly, and they listened to my story.
You know, we have lost some friends in the monsoon too, Andy's mom said. I hope we'll see them back sometime. I am just glad we were able to stick together as a family. But what you're telling me is awful. I think I know just the person who can help you. Can I go with him, Mom? Can I? Andy asked. Just don't do anything stupid, his mom said. You know what we taught you to stay away from danger, don't you? Yes, Mom. Good, Andy's mother continued. On the other side of this forest, there is a wise old lady caterpillar. She knows a lot. Sometimes I think she knows everything. Seek her out, and she'll tell you if there is a cure for this memory loss of yours. Her name is Emily. She lives in the tree in the shape of a heart. You'll recognize it when you see it. Take this with you. It's your lunch. Take care now. She handed Andy a little bag with food. He grabbed it and gave his mother a hug. After that, we went into the direction she told us. The journey was enjoyable, and by keeping each other company, Andy and I got to know a lot about each other's interests and backgrounds. We leapt over roots, crawled under bushes, and jumped in puddles for fun. The splashing of the water caused us to get a little overexcited, as we discovered that one of the puddles didn't consist of much water at all. It was quicksand. Oh, if only we had paid more attention. Everybody knows that caterpillars are allergic to quicksand. What is quicksand? It's the kind where you get sucked in and drown. As caterpillars, we only have to touch it before it makes our skin itch. Not only that, but quicksand, like quicksand, sucks caterpillars down and makes them drown in the soil. I got stuck, and so did Andy. Slowly, we were drifting down to our grave. Now what? How were we going to get out of this? Neither of us had a clue. Grab onto that plant over there, Andy suggested. I tried. I really tried, but with no luck. The plant broke, and we were sinking as time went by. Wah! I don't want to die, Andy cried. I am too young. I was going to be a caterpillar superstar and impress the caterpillar girls. I was going to be a sports hero and a benefactor to society. Now, just calm down. Didn't you tell me you always find a solution? I said. He thought for a moment. You're right, he said. I am the solution king. I always come up with something. Like the plant, I said with a skeptic face. Yes, the plant, but that didn't work. It's okay. Let's see here. How about that rock over there? You are thinking about holding onto a rock? I asked cynically. Of course, if I just... Okay, maybe not. Then the rock will just drop into the quicksand. How about the bird? The bird? What bird? I looked behind me. Andy was right. There was a bird there. It was an ugly white and black magpie with evil eyes, glancing at the trees in the woods and hoping for something to munch on. Are you sure that wicked fowl will help us? I asked. It doesn't look too friendly to me. Of course, Andy said. Don't worry, I got it all under control. Hey, birdie! The giant magpie flew to the area next to the puddle of quicksand. It raised its eyebrows, as if it had never seen such a scene before. Two caterpillars stuck in the quicksand. Ha! What do you want, little worm? It asked. I'm not a worm, I am a... Oh, never mind. Can you get us out of here? Grrr! And why would I do that? There's nothing in it for me, the magpie said. Oh, but there is. Something special just for you, Andy said. Clever Andy, I thought. He really knows how to manipulate others into giving him what he wants.
"So what is it?" the magpie asked. "I'm not going to tell you until you pull us out." "How do I know it's worth it then?" the magpie asked. "Fine, I'll pull you out, but it better be good." With that said, the magpie leaned over and pulled us out one by one. We were all itchy, of course, because of that nasty quicksand. Ugh. Hopefully we'll never have to deal with that substance again, and I was anxious to have that itching feeling be gone. "Well, what is the surprise? Give me my reward," the magpie demanded. "Here it is," Andy said, handing him the lunch bag he got from his mother. The magpie looked disappointed. "That's it?" he asked. "That's not bird food. I hate that stuff. Give me something else." "We don't have anything else," I said, trying to gain his sympathy. "Great! I wasted my strength again," the magpie said. "I guess I should have known I wouldn't get anything out of this. But then again, I could just eat you two. You look rather scrumptious, little worms." He stepped forward and looked straight at us. "I told you we were not Andy started, until I interrupted him. "Forget that, Andy. Let's get out of here," I said, as I slithered into the opposite direction. Andy followed me. We both crawled away from the magpie, which was pursuing us and making scary sounds. "Grrr, grrr, I will have you for breakfast." We were ahead of him, but the magpie was gaining on us. Scared and afraid, but still crawling, I said, "Jump!" After which we leaped over a mushroom, slid underneath a thistle, and disappeared in a bush with flowers. "Shh! It can't see us here," I whispered. We waited as we watched the magpie from a distance, searching for us and continuing to make noises. After 5 minutes or so, however, we heard another sound. Psst. What was that? I didn't have the guts to look yet because I wanted to make sure the magpie was gone first. "Gurr, gurr, get away from me! Gurr!" Soon white smoke came out of nowhere, blowing the magpie away and scaring it to death. After a few struggles with the smoke and failing to resist the strong wind, the magpie got disoriented and flew away. "You can come out now," we heard. "It's safe. The bird won't be back."
Chapter 4. Solving the Problem.
It was the old caterpillar lady who had chased the hungry magpie away. She looked pretty smart indeed, and I assumed she was at least 100 years old, but that was just a guess. "You can come out now," she said again. We came out and discovered that we were in front of her little house. "That magpie won't do you any harm. Come inside and have a cup of tea," she said, pointing her finger to her home. Her house looked warm and cozy. It was amazing that she actually had a little home made out of wood and tiny bricks, with windows and a chimney. Curtains were hanging in front of her windows, and there was a little red door we all crawled through. The interior was decorated with red and green items, tables, chairs, and painted walls. "Nice place you have here," I said. "I'm glad you like it," she answered. "Make yourselves at home." "Can we get something to eat?" I asked. "I am really hungry." She gave us something to eat, caterpillar food of course, and inquired about our business. "Yummy," I said. "Finally, some good food." "What brings you here?" I forgot my name. For now I am called Soreo, but that's not my real name, I said honestly. "And how did that happen?" she asked. "The monsoon," I said briefly. "No more need to explain," she said. "I understand. You probably got swept away by the current and hit something, and now your brain is damaged, causing amnesia or fragmented memory loss. Do you remember your family's names?" "No, and that's the problem." "I see," she said. She had to think for a few minutes. Then she went into another room. We sat there looking at each other and wondering what she was doing. After a while, she came back with a piece of paper. "This is it," the wise old caterpillar said. "This is what you have to find to get your name back." "But you already have it, so we don't have to find it anymore, right?" Andy said. No, silly boy. When I say this is it, I don't mean that this is it, but that what this drawing depicts is it. Understood? Kind of, he said. I get it, I said. You just made a drawing of the object we're looking for, clear as glass. But what does the object do? I'm glad you ask, she said. This is a drawing of the Diamond of Wisdom, which can give you answers to any of your questions. If you possess it, it will tell you what you need to know. I know it sounds idealistic, but it's true. It's a magical diamond. Great, let's go get it, Andy said as he jumped up. Hold your horses, young man, she said. This is not an easy task. The diamond can be found in the lava cave, a seemingly endless underworld full of vile creatures and filthy monsters. Most of its territory is covered by burning hot lava and other dangerous materials. I would never recommend going there to anyone, but in your case I might make an exception. I know how it is to lose your family. I lost my husband years ago and have been living alone ever since. Okay, we'll watch our backs, I said. We ate, and we thanked Emily for letting us sleep over.
Chapter 5. The Lava Cave.
The next morning we took off. We received directions from the wise caterpillar so we would know where to go. It only took us several hours before we discovered the entrance. Are you sure you want to go down there? Andy asked. Very certain, I said. I need to find out who I am and where my family is. Moreover, I am still hungry. I could eat a whole cantaloupe. I know what you mean, but I was just asking because it looks pretty creepy, Andy said, shivering a little. They stood at the edge of a cave. Curvy points like claws were at the top of the entrance, portraying the beginning of a hellish empire full of hazardous areas and dangerous creatures lurking beneath the shadows. It looked like a dreadful realm or dimension no simple caterpillar should arrive at. Can we please go back? Andy asked. You can go back if you're scared, I said, but I am going to head down there and find that diamond. Scared? I'm not scared. I'll show you that I'm not. Be my guest, I said, stepping back and letting him go first. He wasn't bluffing, although I did sense a little nervousness in his demeanor. But he went first. He got in front of me and crawled down into the lava cave. What we saw there left a print on our minds that would never be erased from their memories. Excruciatingly hot lava was all over the place, as far as the eye could see. There were rivers, pools, and lakes of lava. I believe this was the first time that I saw a lava fall, transporting hundreds of gallons of lava per minute downward to mix in with the already bursting lava pools. Patches of gravel, rocks, and pieces of quicksand added some variety of the fiery scenery, providing us the only safe route to our destined location. Okay, the way I see it, I began, is that we can hop onto these rocks and patches of gravel. I'd rather avoid the quicksand if that's okay with you. Of course. I wouldn't want to go through that experience again, Andy answered. I'm all up for it. Let's go. We hopped and hopped from one rock to the next, from patch to patch, any place we could safely stand without getting burned. Whoa! Andy yelled, while a giant flame came up from the lava within inches away from his tail. These flames just pop out of nowhere. I saw it. It's incredibly dangerous, but we have to keep going. According to the map, it won't be much longer. Various flames were shooting up from the lava streams. It was almost as if they were trying to hit us, but that was impossible, of course. However, it made the jumping and maneuvering more difficult by the minute. As we got closer to our destination, the flames would rise more frequently. There were a few moments I thought I would get burned and barely evaded them. Then we were stuck. There was no more rock or patch to hop onto. We looked around, talked about it, but it seemed like we were not able to go on any further. But then, something else arose from the lava. It wasn't a flame or a rock. What is that? Andy asked. I don't know, but it looks like a mushroom. Let's use the mushroom to jump to the next rock. No sooner said than done. We managed to drop on the nearest rock by jumping and bouncing on the mushroom. It was amazing. These things came out of nowhere. Another mushroom appeared, and another, and another. Dozens of mushrooms emerged from the lava, providing an easy way for us to bounce to the nearby patch of gravel with the diamond. Bam! Ouch! We landed on the gravel. Look, I said, pointing to the left. It's the diamond. It must be. It looks exactly like the drawing from Emily. Wow, it looks so beautiful, Andy said. Let's get it. Chapter 6. Dangerous Enemies. We approached the radiating gem and focused on nothing else. This crystal would give me the answer. It would tell me my name and my family members' names. I would finally be reunited when coming back to the woods. We were almost there, but something was wrong. I had a hunch. Danger was in the air. It was like there was a hostile presence, a secret enemy watching us fall into their maliciously designed trap. We turned around and stared into the eyes of 10 black skeletons. They had swords made out of stone and said in an eerie voice, "You shall not take the diamond. It belongs to us." Soreo? Andy said, hiding behind me. Do you think they will just let us look at the diamond so we can learn your name and get out of here? Some of the wither skeletons, I found out later that this is what they were called, were already drawing their swords and walking closer. I don't think so, Andy, I said. I think we have to find a way to battle these creatures. Before we knew it, all 10 of them dashed forward and attacked us with their swords. I evaded several of them, making it so that they stabbed each other by jumping aside at the right time. Andy was struggling, though. Some wither skeletons had cornered him, and he was scrunched on the floor, shivering like a mouse on the North Pole. Hey, come on and take somebody of your own size, I shouted. They turned around, focusing their attention on me. Oops, I said softly. Screaming loudly, they ran towards me. I dodged their swings and jumped backwards. Perhaps this wasn't so bad after all. I could do this. But then things got worse. The skeletons weren't the only enemies in this deep, dark spit of land. From other parts of the cave, floating ghosts emerged. There were only 3 of them, but it just made me wonder how I was going to get out of this situation. I was told about these creatures. They were called flying ghosts, and they spat fireballs at intruders. One of the flying ghosts spat a fireball at me. I ducked, and it hit one of the skeletons. Hey, I said out loud, these flying fanatics are the answer to my problem. Come and get me, stupid ghosts. I think I got them mad because after those remarks, they spat out numerous fireballs at me. Each time I got in front of a wither skeleton and jumped away when the fireballs approached me. That took care of that. All the skeletons were dead. Now the flying ghosts. How was I going to get rid of those? Allow me, Andy said, who had taken courage by now. He grabbed a piece of mushroom and held it in front of him. I remembered how easy it was to bounce on these moldy things and had a slight comprehension of what my friend was trying to do. The flying ghosts spat and spat, but all they did was hitting themselves, because every fireball bounced on the mushroom Andy held in front of him, right back at the flying ghosts. After a few misses and some direct hits, they all fell into the lava. Smart idea, I complimented Andy. Thanks, he said modestly. Chapter 7. Diamond Found. The diamond was reflecting all colors, like a prism. We came closer and looked at it. How does it work? Andy asked. I don't know. Maybe we can just talk to it. Yes, you can talk to me, the diamond said. Ask me a question, and I shall unfold my wisdom before your very eyes. As if nothing strange had happened before with the skeletons and the flying ghosts, but a talking diamond topped it all. I need to know my name, I said, and if it's possible, The name of my family members, too.
Easy, the diamond said. Shh, let me concentrate and feel your aura. Yes, that's it. Your name is Brady.
Brady? I stood there, and as flashing memories went through my mind, it was as if a cool lightning flash had hit my brain and brought all things to my remembrance. I knew it. It's Brady. My name is Brady.
And do you remember the names of your family members now?
The diamond asked. Yes, I do. There's Chantal, my sister, and Vance, my brother, and my parents, Grady and Carla. It's all coming back to me. I know where to look. Thank you, oh wise diamond. Well, nice to meet you, Brady, Andy said. Sounds like a good name. We were both happy. The end of our adventure was finally at the door. But after this important revelation, we still had to get back home. Hopping from mushroom to mushroom was doable, but inconvenient to say the least. Besides, many of the platforms had already disappeared, making it almost impossible for us to go the same way. One more thing, I said. Wise Diamond, how do we get back through all these lava territories? It seems impossible.
There is your solution. Look up and you'll know, the wise diamond said.
That was the last thing it said. It was completely silent after that. We looked above us. It was the magpie. Uh-oh. Had that annoying bird been following us all that time? "Roo-coo," it said before landing next to us. "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't eat you right here, right now," he said, licking his beak. "We have something for you," Andy said confidently. "Oh no, I'm not falling for that again," the magpie said. "It better be worth something this time, or you're going to die." Andy was blocking the diamond so far, but stepped aside and proudly presented the radiating crystal behind him. The magpie's eyes got bigger. Just in case you don't know, magpies are crazy about shining, glimmering objects. This one was no different, and he was convinced by its prize immediately. "Don't touch," Andy said. "You have to promise to fly us to the entrance and leave us alone after that. On those conditions, the diamond is all yours." "Roo-coo! I don't even have to think about that. You've got a deal, little worm. I'll take you both and the diamond to the entrance of the cave. Roo-coo! This thing is magnificent." "We are not worms. We are Oh, never mind," Andy said as he sighed. We both grabbed onto the diamond, and with some effort of carrying the heavy object, the magpie succeeded in flying us all back to the outside world. We said goodbye and watched as the black and white bird disappeared in the distance with its reward. "Now let's find your family, Brady," Andy said. Once we arrived at the woods, our home, it didn't take long before we found my family. We had the names. We simply looked around, asked other caterpillars if they knew where they lived, and within hours, we came across the correct place. My mom hugged me, and my dad patted me on the back. My brother and sister stood in front of me. "We're glad you're back," they said as they smiled. "We made something for you." Handing me their object, I began to smile too. It was a name tag with my name on it. I would wear it proudly for the rest of my life. "Did you also prepare some food?" I asked. "I am starving." They laughed. "Silly you," my brother said. "Always thinking about food." Yep, that's me. The end. This has been Diary of a Hungry Caterpillar, The Starving Caterpillar with No Name, Kids Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Diary of a Wimpy Cow. The exciting story of a happy cow. Kids Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Do you ever wonder what goes around in the head of a cow? What is she thinking, eating that grass all day? What would she do if she were to escape, if she would be kidnapped? This is Milky's diary, the story that she remembers. She participated in the contest, she won, she was taken, and she got rescued by her hero, the bull. But what happened after that is still a mystery to everyone who heard of the story. So listen to her account and find out what really happened. Chapter 1. A Cow's Life. Eat, sleep, stand in the field, milk, eat, sleep, stand in the field, milk. This was my life, the life of a cow. Pretty repetitive, isn't it? I mean, I was okay with it, but it became a little monotonous. Let me try to rephrase all that. Let me try to make this sound a bit more interesting. Ready? I would eat, then I would sleep, and then I would get up and stand in the field to eat again. Then I would be milked. After that, I would eat, fall asleep at night, and do the same thing the next morning. Does that sound better? I know, it still sounds boring, doesn't it? Okay, let me give it one more try before I introduce myself. Here we go. Last try. Once the beautiful morning sun showed its shiny face, a new day began. The wonderful life of the cow waiting in the barn was extended by yet another opportunity to reshape the world around her. Delicious fresh blades of grass were waiting, as it were, to be devoured by the herbivore and become the nutritious resource they were meant to be. The courageous cow stepped forward and faced the initial stages of the summer heat, pretending to not care about the tedious routine she was bound to be thrown at. She bent over and opened her mouth while reaching for her next meal. The blades were scrunched to pieces by her targeting teeth. Her stomach stopped growling, and her countenance shone with satisfaction as she betook herself to her resting quarters to lie down after being milked by the diligent farmer who had taken care of her for years. That sounds a lot more intriguing, doesn't it? Okay. Fine, I won't bother you with all these difficult descriptive words. The point is that I did nothing else. My purpose was to sleep, eat, and be milked. The rest didn't matter. But I wanted it to matter, and I was a little frustrated about my narrow perspective. Simply said, I wanted more. I wanted to experience life. I mean, don't get me wrong. The farmer was nice. He always took care of me, cleaned up the stinky stuff that I left on the field, and he made sure that grass would grow there at all times. My life was definitely something to be jealous of. That is, if wild cows would get jealous, but I don't know if they do. Before I forget, my name is Milky, and I will tell you the story of what happened when I was at the cow show. That's right, I said the cow show. It became number one. Okay, I won't get ahead of myself, because a lot of people were confused what happened in the factory I was that night. But I know the truth, the real truth, not the false truth. Well, you get it, don't you? And the funny thing was that it was exactly what I dreamt about. Fine, almost exactly, but close enough. It was a dream that came true. Chapter 2. A Cow's Dream. So this is what I dreamt that night. I was having a boring day, as usual, but my dream exceeded my expectations. It was one of the best things I had ever dreamt about. I was alone. I didn't have any friends near me. It was in the middle of nowhere. It certainly wasn't in the field near the barn. More like a desert or something similar to it. It was like a desert with some plants in it. Desert plants, I guess. Anyway, here I was, standing in the middle of the desert with plants. That sounds kind of weird. And what do I see? A big factory. A huge factory. One of those buildings with all kinds of chimneys and lots of smoke and supposed environmental pollution. But what a smell! It smelled delicious. It smelled like a dairy product. Funny, because I probably produced some of that milk myself, or so I assumed. The scent attracts me. It interests me. I love it, and I already feel addicted to it.
So the only thing I could do was head towards it following my sniffer. And since there was nothing else but plants in that half-empty desert, it was the smartest thing to do in the first place, don't you think? So yes, I did. I went to the factory and tried to open the door. Stuck. Bummer. Now what? I tried to headbutt through it, but it still wouldn't budge. That would give me a headache for some time. Ouch. I decided to go around the back. I walked around the tall building and was in awe because of its well-constructed functionality. I was more curious than ever to discover what kinds of deliciously scented products this factory was hiding inside its walls. I tried the door on the back of the building and opened it. Finally inside. There it was. It was like heaven. In front of me, I saw the inside of the biggest ice cream factory in the country, maybe even in the world. I slowly walked past the machines and observed the way they all joined each other in processing all those substances into the yummiest food I would ever taste. There were so many different flavors: cookies and cream, chocolate fudge, caramel, fruit mix, passion fruit, pineapple, strawberry, almond, cherry, lime, and double chocolate, to name just a few. The finished packages were all lined up, ready to be shipped in beautiful boxes. I approached this creation of milk and other added elements that resulted into the best of all creations. And no, I couldn't resist. I opened one of the boxes and licked the ice cream with my big tongue. Wow, so good! I decided to taste another flavor. Wow, even better! After that, it was just a matter of eating as much as I wanted, with the greatest variety in my choices applied to the marvelous moment I was in. Ice cream heaven. That was my dream. When I woke up in the morning, I had a super smile on my face that wouldn't disappear for another hour. That night made my day, if you know what I mean. If only it were real, though. Chapter 3. The Grand Show. Perhaps it was the dream that made my milk so good and tasty that day in the first place, which made me end up in the factory in the end. So without giving away too much of the story, let me just think here for a moment. Yes, that's it. I think this is one of those things they call a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's weird because the reason I won the show was most likely because of the milk I produced that was more positive and healthier than usual because of my dream. And because I won, I ended up in the very factory I had dreamt about. Yes, that must be it, although it seems strange to me. Anyway, back to what happened. Don't let my weird sequence of thought distract you from following the storyline closely. Like I said, the day I dreamt about the ice cream factory was the day the cow show was held. It was a joyous occasion, and farmers from around the country all participated with their various cows to brag, win a medal, and take home some money. Not all of them would be so lucky, but what is winning without being able to laugh at the losers, right? Okay, that sounded a little harsh, but what I am trying to get at is that I was happy that we won for once. You see, I had gone to that show for years and never won anything, but this year was going to be different. The farmer took me to the show, along with a few other cows from his farm. We were on a leash, tied together by a piece of rope. There was a big tent, the one that you often see when you enter a circus. And although this wasn't an official circus, it certainly looked like one. We were put to the side and were obligated to stand next to each other. 12 cows were standing there, waiting for the people to determine who was going to be the lucky cow of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the show began, we will judge these fine cows according to their appearances, their milk, and their responses to their owners.
He announced a lot of other mumbo-jumbo, but those first words were the most significant ones. The rest was all meant to entertain the 1,000-plus visitors who attended the cow show. I usually enjoyed the cow show, and this year was no exception. But this year, I was a little happier than in the previous years because I just had had a wonderful dream. So perhaps it was the adrenaline, the dopamine, the endorphins, or any other happiness hormones that got me so excited. Whatever takes place in the body and mind of a cow. But this year, I felt great. I was in a good mood, and nobody could spoil it, not even some evil men who... Sorry, just got ahead of myself again. I will tell the story in chronological order. Chapter 4. Bull. I have to admit that there was something else that might have contributed to my enthusiasm. I met a guy, well, a cow guy, a bull. While I was waiting behind the stage, I saw him standing there with his strong muscles, the masculine torso of this toro, and the fierce, piercing look in his eyes.
Wow, did you work out or something?
I asked. Greetings, my name is Boris, the bull said. And yes, I have been working those muscles a little, thanks for noticing.
I am Milky,
I said.
Pleased to meet you, Milky. So what brings you all the way here? I've never seen you before. Oh, but I come here every year,
I said.
I don't know why I never met you. Maybe because I was always put in the back and I never won the show.
That may be why, Boris said.
But trust me when I say this. With your looks, I think you should have won a long time ago. Are you saying that I am getting older?
I asked, feeling a little insulted. The bull looked confused.
No, that's not what I meant, he said. What I intended to say is that someone as beautiful as you deserves to win a prize. Ah, that sounds more like it,
I said, feeling relieved. I could hardly believe this gorgeous male was flirting with me, but at that time I wondered if he just did that with all the cows. After all, he was a bull and was naturally attracted to the other gender. So it made me a little skeptical at first. But as we kept talking, I began to trust that he had a particular preference to get to know me better, something that was enormously flattering.
Tell me about your life,
Boris said.
I would like to learn more about you. Ha ha, as if there is anything to know about me. Trust me, Big Bull, I have no life. I do the same thing every day. I don't feel like it is going anywhere, and there is nothing interesting about it. I eat, sleep, and provide milk to my farmer. It's pretty useless.
That doesn't sound useless to me, he said.
It just sounds repetitive, that's all. But not all repetition is useless. Some things are so important that they need to be repeated numerous times. I guess you're right. So how about you? What do you do? Well, I usually do about the same thing, except for the milking, of course. I stand in the field, sleep in the barn, and sometimes they use me for heavy objects, nothing more. But I try to make the most of my time. When the farmers aren't looking, I exercise. I work my muscles and make sure I stay in shape. That way the farmers will see I am healthy and strong. If life isn't interesting, you can make it that way yourself, don't you think?
So many wise words from such a strong bull. I corrected myself for thinking that he was shallow or lazy. He was one of the best bulls I had ever met. Fine, I admit, he was the only bull I had ever met. Too bad I couldn't come closer and feel his muscles. The fence kept us separate. Our conversation was interrupted. We were taken away by the farmers, back into the other room. They were calling us inside in front of the big crowd. After that, it was all just a matter of going through the motions. The same milking took place, the same little trick of the owners calling their animals, us, the cows, and hoping that we would run towards them, and the same judges walking around us in circles, focusing on what we looked like to give us a number according to our beauty and comeliness. The end of the contest was over. They were going to announce the winner. I was a little nervous, since I had already noticed the constructive reactions of the judges when they tasted my milk. They had made positive comments about the way I looked, and I had reached my owner faster than the other slowpokes.
And the winner is...
There it was. He was going to say it. Was it going to be me this time? Boris certainly believed I deserved it. I listened. I watched his mouth when he uttered the words.
Milky!
Wow, I won! For the first time in my, career as a cow, I won the contest, the show, the whatever. I was so excited that I started jumping up and down a little, kind of like a little dance, despite the fact that there was no beat. But I didn't need real music. The ear-splitting noise of the crowd going wild was enough to energize me. I stepped forward and closed my eyes. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. The usher led me to the center of the big tent and placed a gold medal around my neck. Everybody clapped. People whistled. I felt honored and respected. I was the cow of the year. Chapter 5. Cow Napped. The show was over. Some other stuff happened while I was taken to the back and put in a special place for winners. Farmers had replaced my water and had given me some fresh food. The straw was nice and soft, and I fell asleep with a smile on my face. Big mistake. I should have stayed awake. But I didn't, and I was about to face the consequences. When I woke up, 3 men were carrying me into a wagon. Apparently, the area behind the tent was completely deserted. All the visitors were inside, and the farmers were chit-chatting in front of the main entrance, but there was nobody in the back. I was left to these robbers and didn't know what to do. I mooed, trying to alert anyone to come and help me, but to no avail. No one heard me. They were all too busy celebrating and talking. Even my muscled man, the bull, didn't hear me. He must have been asleep or something. The 3 men had taken me, and no matter how much I struggled, they succeeded in putting me in their wagon and taking off to a distant terrain. When we arrived there, and of course they didn't blindfold me, a cow, they quickly unloaded me and put me behind a fence in one of their barns. The criminals were talking. I eavesdropped and could hear everything they were saying.
This is the cow the boss wants. He was very clear. Only the winning cow, he said. So watch her and make sure she doesn't go anywhere. Understood. But wait, what are we going to do with her? Are you stupid or something? This cow won the annual contest. That means it's worth a fortune now. We'll squeeze the owner out of his money by threatening to kill her if he doesn't pay up. It's as simple as that. Ah, got it. But hey, what if he doesn't pay us? Are we really going to kill a cow? Of course, you blockhead. It's just a silly cow. It won't make any difference to anyone. Sure, whatever you say.
Those were their last words before they walked away. Chapter 6. Saving the Cow. This is the account I got from the strong bull that was flirting with me. He told me later, and I included it in my diary.
I woke up with a jolt. It was as if someone was telling me to take action. The words, "kill a cow," were ringing in my head. It felt like I heard someone say it, even though there was nobody near me. By the way, the other words ringing in my head, probably from a somewhat humorous nightmare, were, "you blockhead." Where that was coming from, I didn't know. I couldn't resist the urge to break free. I had to do something. Besides, where did Milky go? Was she all right? I thought she won the contest, didn't she? So where did she end up then? It made no sense. I felt it. I had to do it, so I did. Crack! I bulldozed her against the fence that was holding me hostage. I bashed my bullhorns against the wood so that it would break. One more try, and again, crack! I was free. Now where was Milky, the cow of my dreams? I had to find her. There was no way I would ever find a more beautiful cow than her. She was friendly and sweet and hot and, well, practically perfect. You get the point. I stormed out the barn and looked around. I let my masculine senses take over. A scent came from a certain direction the wind was blowing in. It was vague, though, but then I saw something that would be most helpful. Tracks. They were caused by wheels. A wagon had stopped here not too long ago. The tracks were still fresh. They were easy to follow. I didn't wait any longer. I was about to headbutt some serious criminal butts with my sharp horns. I ran and ran, following the tracks to the barn Milky was at. I heard her mooing. It was a terribly sad sound coming from such a lovely lady. But not for long. I was going to free her no matter what. Nobody should kidnap an innocent cow like that. I gazed around for a few seconds. Nobody was there. This was it. I wasn't going to hesitate or linger. It was going to be hard and fast. I rushed at the sturdy fence with my head forward. It was speedy, it was efficient, and I hit it. Crack! Another fence, broken. Mission accomplished. Hi, Milky. Good to see you, I said a little awkwardly.
Boris, you came for me,
she exclaimed. I felt proud and I lifted up my head. Of course, you're my girlie. I couldn't leave you in the clutches of these evil villains. I will always be here, ready to rescue you. Just remember that.
Yes, I get it. Let's go before they discover us.
But it was too late. The robbers had already discovered us. We couldn't escape anymore. They were waving their pitchforks at us and blocked our way out, but they were about to pay for the wrongs they did. My instincts took over. The testosterone levels in my blood rose dramatically. The skyrocketing energy in my body was ready to explode into a raging outburst. I put one of my feet on the dusty ground and rubbed it a few times as to prepare myself to run at them. I squinted my eyes and had a more determined facial expression than a wolf hunting for a prey. Steam was blowing from my nose, my ears were tightening up. These criminals didn't know what fate would befall them. They were about to get creamed. I dashed at the first one. He nervously held his pitchfork in front of him, trying to impale me, but he failed miserably. Dodging his pathetic attempt to defend himself, I avoided his pointy weapon and banged his stomach so hard he fell over and ended up rolling in the sand. Knockout. Now the next one. He was looking even more worried than the first villain after he saw what I did to him. His hands were shaking, his pitchfork went back and forth, but none of these distractions were able to do me any harm. I had a mission, and I was going to show him who was boss. Bang! Another one bit the dust. Stupid criminal. That will teach you to threaten my lady. Anyone else? The last one was so scared, I thought he would give up. He didn't look as confident as he did before I beat the other two to the ground. I slowly walked towards him. His pitchfork fell. He couldn't cope with the overpowering presence of a real hero, a real bull with spunk and the strength like a lion. He did give up, because when he saw me approaching him, he screamed like a little girl. Then I watched him run away in panic, leaving the two of us behind as the only ones left standing.
My hero,
Milky said.
Chapter 7. Zombie Invasion. Back to my writing. Yes, this is Milky again. Glad to see you back. Anyway, isn't Boris amazing? He came especially for me. He rescued me from those men. But the day was not over yet. I will tell you of the havoc and chaos in the moments following the kidnapping, because the danger wasn't over. In this world, there are certain creatures to be feared and avoided. You don't want to see them, and you definitely don't want to get close to them. You see, the kidnapping was bad enough, although it resulted into being together with the handsome bull I had met earlier. But even after all of that was over, we weren't left alone by the local problems the population in this region was typically facing. I had heard of zombies earlier, but never seen one in real. Well, here was my chance, because this day was getting even crazier. They appeared within minutes, probably at least 50 or so. They came from the woods. I saw them and told Boris,
"Oh, the villagers found out about our location."
"Those aren't just villagers," he responded. "Those are zombies."
"What?"
"They will attack us and eat us if they can," Boris said. "Let's run away as quickly as we can." And so we did.
The hordes of zombies were running after us, but we already reached the back of the barn and ran through the woods, trying to preserve our lives. Wah! We heard the zombies moan behind us. Boris huffed and puffed like bulls typically do, but I couldn't run as fast as he did, so I fell behind. Eventually, I really fell into the sand.
Ouch!
Milky! He shouted when he looked back. The zombies were close now. They were about to jump on me and start nibbling my skin. I was incredibly scared. They were within only a few feet distance now. One of them already leaped into the air, ready to land on me. I closed my eyes, but I didn't feel him land. What was happening? I opened my eyes and saw my rescuing hero headbutt away several zombies. They were all over Boris, and although he got wounded in the process, he kept hitting and kicking the zombies.
Go, he yelled. I'll be there soon. Don't worry about me, just find a place to hide.
I got back on my feet and ran away. I felt terribly guilty leaving him behind like this, so I couldn't resist looking back a few times. However, since he basically said he could handle it, I wasn't going to question his judgment. And then I saw it. There it was, the building from my dream. Chapter 8. Yummy Milk. I know there is no such thing as happy milk, since milk cannot really experience any emotions. But I decided to call this chapter that way anyway, since we were totally happy when we tasted those dairy products we found. I went around the back of the ice cream factory, just like in my dream, and discovered the door was open, just like in my dream. Was this a coincidence, or was I in some way able to predict the future? I shut the door, but what happened next was different from what I had seen in my dream. After only a few seconds, I heard a loud banging sound. Bang, bang, bang. I didn't know if I wanted to open up. What if the zombies were trying to get in? I hesitated, and then I asked,
Who is it?
It's me, Boris,
the voice said. It sounded like him. I trusted it, so I opened the door, and there he was.
Quickly,
he urged me.
Close the door and lock it. They are right behind me.
I did as he said, and we looked around. This was it, the beautiful ice cream factory I had seen in my dreams. But we didn't feel safe yet. The danger hadn't left. So we waited in anticipation. If any zombie would enter the factory, we would fight for our lives or run away. We waited and waited. After some time, the noises from the zombies were gone. We later learned after a day or two, when the farmers would find us in the factory, that they had killed the zombies with their pitchforks and shovels, and that the plague had been eradicated from the area. But for now, we were in heaven, and nobody knew we were in here. So we made the best of it. We looked at each other and started laughing when we saw the flavors in all the containers. We opened them, ate cookie-flavored ice cream, brownie-flavored ice cream, and all the fruits you can imagine that were mixed together in there.
Do you think some of these ice cream containers have some of your milk, Milky?
Boris asked.
I most certainly do. Some of the best milk in the country, isn't it?
Yes, I love it.
Let's stop talking and eat more,
I suggested.
Good idea.
The end. Diary of a Wimpy Wolf, Lost in the Winter's Storm, Kids' Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. It's the opposite world. In this diary about a wolf named Lupus, you'll find that sheep are not as innocent as they appear to be, and wolves aren't as vicious and mean as you may think. They are merely struggling to survive. A sneaky sheep spies on the pack, waiting to tear them apart. When it gets spotted, the wimpy Lupus is expected to prove himself by going after it. Enjoy the fun story of the wolf, his own account, who figured out how to be smarter, stronger, and sneakier by solving his pack's problem. Chapter 1. The Wolf Pack.
Lupus is the name, sir, I answered the big gray wolf in front of me. His name was Lavoid, and I soon understood why. His tail was up as a real leader, and mine was down, submissive to my superior. "And what is your purpose here, Lupus?" he demanded. "To protect the pack." "Protect the what?" "The pack, sir," I yelled. "Oh, I thought I heard you wrong, because for some reason I don't think you understood me right when I told you that that is exactly who you're supposed to protect. Could you explain what happened here?" "I can't, sir. I am sorry." "Excuse me? You what? You can't? Surely there must be an excellent clarification for the destruction that took place here. Would you please enlighten us with what you know?" "It's just, I was standing guard in front of the family dens. Everything was quiet. The snow was icy and I could see my own breath. You know how it is." "You don't have to tell me about the weather, Lupus. Just explain why all these dens are so messed up." "I didn't do it. There was nobody here. Yes, okay, I saw something move in the snow. It was white, and I was about to check it out when I got called by another wolf to watch their den for a while. When I came back, the moving object in the snow was gone, and the dens were messed up." "That sounds a little sketchy. Who or what do you think caused this?" "I have no idea, sir." Lavoid came a little closer and rolled his eyes. Then he got into my face and started yelling. "Then you better find out! I will not tolerate this!" I was about to ask how I was supposed to discover what happened, but from the look on his face I concluded it was better to shut up. I would figure out a way. Yes, sir," I said in a quiet voice. This was an investigation. This was war. The game was on. I was going to do everything in my power to find out who or what was terrorizing the pack. I walked away from the angry wolf leader and went to my own den. I sat there for some time, pondering the sequence of events. A white object in the snow. What could that be? I couldn't put my finger on it. I guess it could be anything if it was covered in snow. But it looked like a different white, an off-white. And why did it mess up the wolf dens? I wasn't sure what to do, so I left my own den and walked around trying to find anything. There! Paw prints! Wow, those are weird. They don't look like wolf paw prints at all. It was like they were caused by an animal with hoofs or something. Strange. I hadn't seen any of those around. Chapter 2. Blizzards. I still hadn't found anything, and Lavoid was demanding a report each day. It was tough to tell him every time that I still didn't know what caused the dens to collapse. It was all just a big mystery. I kept searching and came across another moving white object. I followed it, but it disappeared, and then it started snowing. A thick layer of snow covered the ground, the trees, and everything in the environment. It snowed really heavily, and I couldn't see much. I ducked. I was going to sit there and wait until the snow would be gone, but it didn't happen soon. It snowed for hours and hours, or maybe not. I lost track of time. But either way, I knew it was a long time. It was white everywhere, and time was not the only thing I was lost track of. I couldn't see the moving object anywhere either. Again, I had to go back and report to Lavoid, which was not my favorite thing to do. I came to the edge of a giant cliff where some of the wolf dens have been dug. It was one of those spots from where you could see most of the valley and surrounding areas. "I suppose you have nothing for me?" Lavoid asked when I arrived. "I am sorry, sir. I followed a moving white object." He raised his eyebrows. "Why would you do that? The snow is white. How are you ever going to find a white object in white snow?" he asked. "Well, it just moved," I said. "Okay, never mind. Just look over here. Look at the mess this white object of yours created, or anything else that might have done it." He pointed to the dens near the grove of trees. It was a big mess. The tunnels had collapsed. The snow was piled up in front of them, and even tree trunks were blocking some of the exits. What was going on here? I walked around and observed the scene. Some mother wolves are looking worried, cubs were crying, and males were questioning families what had happened. Then I saw it. "There," I said. "See that? Those are paw prints. They look like they came from hoofs. It must have been some kind of herbivore that tried to confuse us or cause panic." "Are you serious, Lupus? That doesn't add up. Get your act together and start making some sense."
"Yes, sir." I didn't feel like insisting on what I discovered, so I just let him wander off and continued my research. The prints really looked like hoofs. A horse? A cow? A goat, perhaps? I looked around and tried to focus on any movement, but it was extremely difficult, because it was snowing a little again, and it soon became something close to a blizzard again. Aha! I saw it. Sheep! Tons of sheep! They were standing in a group on the other side of the ravine. There must be about 100 of them. What were they doing? It's like they are in a meeting or something. I couldn't see very well because of the blizzard, but I knew what I saw. It was weird. I didn't understand it. Where did these sheep come from? I moved around a little and scratched my ear. The snow was so cold. Brrr. I mean, I was used to a little cold weather, but this was crazy. We hadn't had a blizzard like this in years. As I tried to decide what to do next, I thought of what a true heroic wolf would do. Interesting. What would a leader do? Chapter 3. Lost. Instead of reporting to that annoying lavoid who thought he was the best wolf on the planet, I decided to track those sheep down myself. So my venture was bound to end up on the other side of the ravine. I needed to find a way around it, and I stopped every half hour or so to see where I was at and how far it still was to the other side. It took me a while to reach a point where I thought I was on my way there. But then the snow got even worse. The blizzard covered my sight completely. I didn't see where I was going anymore. I was completely lost and had no clue how to continue from here. I dug a hole in the ground again and hid underneath it to keep myself warm and protect me from the falling snow. It was already getting dark when it stopped. The layer was thick. It required more effort to walk through it. It was hard, but I had a goal. I wanted to find those sheep and let the pack know where they were, so we could attack and fill our stomachs. I know most of us were getting pretty hungry, and we needed to find food quickly. The sheep were going to help us through the next few days, or even longer, so we wouldn't starve to death. There it was. I found it. It was the bridge between one end of the mountain and the other. If I would cross this bridge, I would definitely be near the sheep. It was dark, it was scary, but I wanted to reach my destination, and the full moon made the bridge clearly visible, so I crossed it and arrived at the place where the sheep used to be. Hey, where did they go? I looked around him anxiously. I heard an eerie sound. Where it was coming from, I did not know. But after some time, I noticed that it was coming from all different directions. I got a little nervous. What was that? Suddenly, it attacked me. "Awoo!" I howled. The thing that attacked me was not alone, because here was another and another and another. They were snakes! The tiny creatures were jumping on my back, my chest, my face. There were at least a dozen that nibbled away at my skin. I was trying to shake them off. I scratched one with my claws, bit another one with my sharp teeth, and threw one in the air with my tail. But they kept coming. I had to think of something, or they would overwhelm me and leave me dead in the cold snow. I let my gaze wander for a few seconds, enduring the painful biting of the little snakes. Then I saw it. There was a small pool of water. Several pieces of ice were floating in it, but it wasn't covered by ice, so I decided to jump in it. I ran towards it and jumped. Splash! It was freezing. I hated it. But the snakes were letting go. They couldn't stand the cold water and slowly drowned or froze to death. That was close. I looked around and saw the snakes go away to a different location, ready to attack more victims. I slowly climbed out of the pool and shook off all the water. My fur went poof, and I looked as if I had just been electrocuted. I thought it was funny. Then I made sure I went all the way around the spot where I had seen the snakes and began looking for the sheep again. Snakes in the snow. I still had a hard time accepting it. It was so strange. Chapter 4. The Shepherd. I walked and walked. I assumed the sheep would be around somewhere, since I was on the other side of the ravine. I thought about the pack, and how much respect I would earn if I would get there and tell them where the sheep were. I was already picturing myself being carried on their backs and being fought over by the females. Others would make me their leader and kick Lavoid out. It would be so cool. A little later, I found the sheep. My mouth fell open. There were hundreds of them. I was right. They were the ones who messed up the dens. I walked close to them and listened, hidden in the snow.
"Did you see the looks on their faces when their dens were broken?" one of the sheep said.
"It was priceless," another said. "They can't see us because we are white," one of the sheep said. "We can easily get away with this without getting caught." Oh yeah, I thought. Let's see about that. I'm going to tell the others where you are, and then it will be a feast. But then something happened I didn't expect. I saw a few humans. What are they doing here? I thought. They were walking through the snow towards the sheep. There were 4 of them, and they had a couple of dogs. Before I realized what was going on, the men were shouting and guiding the dogs to run around the sheep. The sheep were startled, but they were scared nonetheless. All of them panicked, walking in the same direction. I figured the men must be shepherds. I stayed hidden and watched as the shepherds led the sheep away. They were leaving the area, away from me, farther and farther away. But I kept following them from a distance. Luckily, the dogs didn't notice me with their keen sense of smell. Hiding behind a tree, I saw the men putting the sheep within a fence. The dogs were barking as loudly as they could, and all the sheep went in. Then the shepherds closed the gates. The sheep were inside the fence. This is terrific, I thought. They can't go anywhere now. All we have to do is come here and slaughter them. They're trapped like sardines in a can. I am going to tell the others. Chapter 5. Back at the Wolf Pack. I started on the journey back. The snow was slowly disappearing a little here and there, so that made it easier for me to find my way towards the pack of wolves I came from. Guys, I shouted, I have good news. Lavoid leaped in front of me. Good day, Lupus. You've been gone for a long time. Please tell me that you found out who messed up our dens. Even better than that, I said proudly. I found out who did it, where they are, and how to get our revenge. Speak before I lose my patience. Well, I began, I was wandering around in an attempt to find out who had insulted me like that when I was suddenly attacked by snakes. Snakes did this? Lavoid asked. No, let me finish.
Excuse me, but could you just skip all the nonsense? Another wolf asked.
Certainly, I said. As I was saying, I was attacked by snakes, but I knew I had seen sheep there. They must have moved to escape from the snakes. Anyway, when I looked a little further, I found hundreds of sheep. They were talking about how many dens they had destroyed and the fact that we can't see them in the snow. But before I could do anything, some shepherds came and guided them into a fence. Sheep? Lavoid asked. Interesting. And you said they are surrounded by a fence now? Yes. Even more interesting, Lavoid says, looking at the others. The others chuckled. They all knew what they were thinking. Sheep meant food. Lead us there and I won't bother you again, Lavoid said. No problem, I said obediently. Follow me and we'll have enough to eat. 10 wolves followed me anxiously and excitedly to see the yummy meal they were about to devour. We walked all the way around the canyon and arrived at a hill overlooking the place where the sheep were locked inside the fences. There, I said, see for yourself. We went down the hill. The wolves from my pack were vicious. They were so hungry that they didn't wait another minute and stormed at the sheep. Oh!
"Moo!" they howled. "Growl!" others growled. Ready to eat after such a long period of semi-starvation, they drooled and ran and snarled at the sheep. But the sheep weren't afraid of them. With only 10 wolves against a few hundred sheep, my friends were definitely outnumbered. And with that, they didn't exactly have the advantage. The sheep stood as one, gathered together, and prepared to face the wolves. When the wolves attacked, some sheep kicked the wolves in the face. Other ones walked right through them, figuratively of course, and every sheep was putting up a decent fight. The battle looked chaotic from where I was standing. Wolves were biting and scratching, sheep were falling, and other sheep were headbutting wolves. The end of it was that the wolves lost, or so I concluded. The 10 wolves whined and ran away up the hill. "Didn't go so well, did it?" I asked. "Shut up, Lupus," Lavoid said. "It's just that we need to catch them by surprise. These sheep aren't like others. They have stuck together to survive the harsh forces of nature and have developed some kind of defense mechanism against predators. We'll try again at night with the full moon in its place." "Sounds like an idea," I said while laughing a little. We waited. That night, the 10 wolves were ready to attack the sheep again. And this time, the sheep seemed completely unaware of our whereabouts. They were about to get eaten. The wolves snuck towards the fence, unnoticed by their herbivore enemies. Some wolves snuck underneath the fence. One of them jumped over. I stood at the top of the hill, watching them apply their second tactic. A wolf pounced on a sheep and bit it. "Bah!" the sheep bellowed. The other sheep panicked, and the wolves took advantage of the chaotic moment. All 10 of them were now attacking, and it seemed as if the sheep were going to lose this time. But then another obstacle came our way. Bam! Bam! They were gunshots. The shepherds had come outside and were firing in the air. "Hurry!" I yelled from the top of the hill. "Get out of there! You cannot fight guns!" They didn't hear me, even though they had clearly heard the gunshots. But the wolves were ignoring them. They didn't realize the danger of a gun. I kept yelling, but to no avail, so I decided to descend to the fence and yell from there. "This way!" I yelled again. "You have no idea what you're up against! Flee before you die here!" Fortunately, the wolves came my way before they were shot. Well, 9 of them came my way. Lavoid was too stubborn. He wasn't going to let these humans push him around. We warned him. We all stood at the fence for a few minutes, but he didn't listen. He told us that we were cowards. "You don't deserve to be wolves," he shouted. "Let me show you how it's done." His fate was sealed. His pride was punished. There was nothing we could do about it. He had chosen the way of the fool. Bam! 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 We heard gunshots again. The darkness revealed its emptiness when we witnessed the death of a fellow wolf. His last breath echoed through the air, and he fell down in the snow. The shepherds talked to each other. They were looking for us. I encouraged the other wolves to follow me and never come back. Luckily, they listened to me, and nobody else got hurt. Chapter 6. Plan B. They came with me to the other side of the hill. The shepherds didn't pursue us. It was a sad, dark night when Lavoid was shot. I didn't like him anyway, but seeing him die like that was not what I expected, nor was it what I wished would have happened. If only he would have listened to us. But now it was too late. "You should be our new leader," one of the wolves said. "Okay," I said. "I don't mind that. But first we need to find our pack. The females and cubs are probably worried sick after such a long day. Let's see, was it this way?" I thought I was a little lost, because after some time walking, we came to a village, one that I hadn't seen before. But this was precisely what we needed, because what we noticed after passing by the dark homes, there was a butchery. "What's that?" one of the wolves asked me. "It's a butchery," I said, a little too loudly in excitement. "What is a butchery?" "This is awesome," I said, ignoring the question. "Come on." We walked around the back and found a way to open the door to the storage room. Big pieces of meat from cows, sheep, and chickens were hanging on the ceiling, lying around on the counter, and packaged in containers. It was wolf heaven. "Whoa," the wolves said as they entered the tiny building. "This is the most meat in one place I have ever seen," another said. "Isn't it great?" I asked. "And it's all up for grabs. The only thing we have to be careful about is to make sure we don't alarm any of the civilians." Chapter 7. The End of Starvation.
"This is so much better than trying to kill a sheep or some other animal,"
the wolf next to me said.
"These are pieces of meat. The animals are already dead. It's almost as if they are handing them to us on a platter."
"Shh," I said, rebuking him. "That's not how it is at all. We have to be silent as the grave. If any of these villagers discovers us, they will do the same as what they did to Lavoid. I wouldn't be surprised if all of these villagers have at least one gun in their homes. Don't make a noise, okay?"
"Understood."
"Good. Now let's split up and each take a big piece of meat so we can take as much home as we can carry." No sooner said than done. We all stood outside with a huge piece of meat. It didn't take long before we found our way back to the pack. The she-wolves were impressed. They all came to me and told me how much they admired my courage and intelligence. I had saved them from hunger. The starvation period was over. We had brought enough meat to the pack to survive for days, perhaps even weeks. And although the villagers often tried to find out who stole the butcher's meat, we were always sufficiently sneaky to make sure we didn't get caught. Every few weeks we went to the same place and got the best beef, pork, and chicken meat. It was delicious every time we came back to our hideout. The sheep were kept within the fences, and they never bothered us again. After some time, I was elected as the pack's new leader. The males carried me on their shoulders for a few minutes when it happened. My dream had come true. The end. Diary of a Dog Owner, Mysterious Appearances in the Village, Kids' Adventure Stories, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Cedric is a guy in a tiny village. He lives by himself and has a pet dog named Carfo. Together they go for walks, greet the villagers, and play with sticks. But when some of the villagers are being killed, suspicion arises, and he finds himself threatened by his name on a symbolic wall. Will he die too, just like the rest of those victims? Or can he prevent his own death by taking on the evil enemies who are responsible for these heinous crimes? Chapter 1. Killings. My name is Cedric. I come from a peaceful village. I am 19 and my parents live away from here. Nothing ever happens here. Everyone goes through the routines of the day. They do their job, they play with their families, and they go to bed with their marriage partners. Nothing out of the ordinary. Or so it seems. One day I woke up. The roosters in this village made sure of that. I also enjoyed the sound of singing birds each day, which appear early each day next to my window. Oh, and I am not the kind of person who has a hard time getting out of bed, because if I try to sleep in, another animal makes sure I don't stay in my nest for too long. Carfo is my dog. He is a German Shepherd, and he is big. I love him to pieces. He is the best friend I've ever had. Well, not that I don't have any friends whatsoever, but Carfo is there for me. He is my buddy. We go to the park and play fetch. I pet him when I don't know what to do with my hands, and I talk to him when I'm lonely. But recently we were outside just walking around when Carfo sniffed and started barking suddenly. "Bark, bark!" "What's going on, Carfo?" "Bark, bark, bark!" he said again. Then he ran into a different direction. I ran after him, wondering what all the fuss was about. Then I saw it. Oh my goodness! It was a corpse! A tall man was lying behind a dumpster, bathing in his own blood, and looking as if he was cut up or bitten somehow. I came a little closer and tried to see who it was. I covered my mouth in amazement. It was Joe. How could anyone kill Joe? First of all, he was the nicest guy ever, and second, he was so big and strong that it could have taken something very powerful to take him down.
It didn't take long before other villagers were gathering around the victim. The village police came and took over, and some of the villagers started talking.
Who could have done this?
I bet it was his neighbor. He was always jealous of him.
Yes, but to kill him? You can't just start accusing people of murder. Besides, that would be gossiping.
Gossiping? I'm just trying to find out who did it. I'm just brainstorming.
I was listening intently to all these conversations and assumptions. It worried me. If there was a murderer in the village, we wouldn't be safe anymore, and we had no clue who to blame. But this was only the beginning. In that same week, 3 more murders took place, 2 more men and 1 woman. They were gruesome, and I am glad that I only heard about them, because discovering another dead body would have been traumatic. Nobody knew and everybody was guessing. People were playing the blame game. They turned against each other and accused others constantly. The whole atmosphere changed. It wasn't pleasant. Chapter 2. The Writings on the Wall. With the dark aura that was cast over this town, people were afraid to go outside in the dark. They didn't trust it. The murderer was out there somewhere, and I couldn't blame them for not wanting to be the next victim. So yes, I stayed inside too, especially when the sun went down. But one evening I just couldn't take it. I had been inside a lot, and I noticed that Carfo was already peeing in the house. So I decided it was time to take him for a walk. At least I felt safe with him at my side. I took a knife from the kitchen and put it in my pocket, just in case anyone would try to attack me. Carfo and I walked through the alleys. There was an eerie fog in the air. It gave me the chills. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't see farther than half a block away. It was gloomy and obscure. Carfo didn't care, though. He was having a blast, finally being able to go outside and all. He peed in one corner, sniffed another, and ran towards the next street every time, making me lose sight of him. "Carfo, stay here, please! Carfo!" He was gone. I was all by myself. I hated this. I even reached for the knife in my pocket and looked around. I knew the way, but I kind of appreciated him guiding me. Where did he go? Suddenly, "Arr! Arr!" Carfo? I couldn't see anything. That annoying fog. Ugh. Arr! Arr! I noticed from which direction it was coming, so I took courage and moved along, looking for my big German shepherd. "Ah, there you are," I said after a few minutes. "Don't run away from me anymore. I don't want to be alone with these things happening in town. What are you barking at anyway?" I looked at the wall he was barking at. "Whoa," was all I could say. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen, and it was another clue to the puzzle. The wall was nothing but a regular wall, but on it there were names written. Some of them were carved and others were painted, but there were definitely names on there. And not just any names, the exact names of the people who were killed. "Are you thinking what I am thinking?" I asked my dog. "Arr! Arr!" That's what I thought. These were either written after the murders to keep track of who died, or, I shivered for a moment, or they were written before the murders to indicate who was going to die. "Arr!" I know. I will tell the police about it tomorrow. Let's go home. This place gives me the creeps. After that, we went home. Chapter 3. The Investigation. The next day I woke up by the sound of birds. I was anxious to find out more about the mysterious wall with the names, so I got some food, took my dog, and headed out the door. "Let's go, Carfo," I said. We ran to the other side of town where we had seen the names on the wall. When we got there, the names were still there. "Ha! You see? There is Joe and Melissa and Roland and Neri and—" I paused. I couldn't believe my eyes. "And Cedric," I said quietly. "Arr! Arr!" Carfo said. My face became pale. My heart was beating faster. A million thoughts went through my mind within seconds, but they all came down to the same thing. I am going to die. What? Why was my name on there? I wasn't dead. I had nothing to do with these victims. What was going on here? This was getting freakier by the minute. My conclusion was the following. If my name was on there, and since I am not dead, then these must be the names of people who were going to die.
Was I going to die? But by whom? And how? For a few minutes, the fear overcame my very being. I was drenched in agonizing anxiety and terrible terror. But then my survival instinct kicked in. I was going to prevent this. I wasn't dead yet. And who was to say that I couldn't escape my so-called fate? I became determined, eager to solve the puzzle, and to prevent my own death. I hurried home and took some of the brushes and magnifying glasses from my cupboard. These tools could help me establish who had been writing these names on the wall. Just a side note, if this was some kind of sick joke, then it certainly wasn't funny. After grabbing the tools, I ran back to the wall. Carfo followed me there. I looked through the magnifying glass and brushed off a little dust, hoping to discover the materials being used and perhaps some other clues that would lead me to the perpetrator. But then Carfo barked again. "Ruff, ruff." "What is it, Carfo?" I looked behind me and saw a shady figure run behind another house. Hey, what was that person doing here? Was I being watched? "Let's get him, Carfo," I said, and the chase began. Chapter 4. The Cave. With my dog, I chased the shady figure around through the alleys of my hometown. It was very early in the morning, so even in this village there was nobody else up, yet. Everyone was still sleeping, which was a bummer, because this meant I had to do it all by myself. Of course, Carfo was a lot faster than I was, but for some reason this suspect was lightning fast as well. When we came to the town's border, the shady figure was way in the distance, on the other side of a large farm field. How he got there so quickly was a mystery to me, but I didn't give up, and neither did Carfo. "Let's keep going," I told my dog, "but stay with me. I don't want to lose you." I ran as fast as I could, and Carfo made sure he didn't get ahead of me too much. He was such a good dog. I love him. At the end of the field, entered a forest at the foot of a mountain. I immediately saw all the wood and the ore in the ground that we could use to build more in the village, but I wasn't sure if the villagers knew about all these materials and building blocks. Anyway, if I would return, I would tell them about it. Listen to me, saying if I would return. I wasn't really going to die, was I? No, that should be when I return. I would tell them about it. I was going to stop this from happening. After walking through the small forest, I saw a cave in the mountain. I assumed the shady figure was hiding in there, and when I would find him, I would beat the answers out of him because this was getting ridiculous. The cave was dark, but there were a few torches on the walls, which made me realize this person had been living here all this time. With Carfo, I snuck into the main space of the cave, where I saw what had been observing me near the wall. Chapter 5. Black Magic. It was a witch! Odd. I didn't know a witch lived here. The witch had a weird nose, purple clothes, and a black hat. She was dancing around a cauldron, not realizing that I had followed her all the way down here. She must have assumed I had given up, which benefited me at the time. The cave had all kinds of items in it. Torches were burning on the walls, and pickaxes, magical blocks, and pearls were lying around on the ground. This place was a mess. I covered my nose when I smelled the reeking odor that emanated from the cauldron, and looked in disgust at the rats that were nibbling on pieces of cardboard and the cockroaches I saw hiding in the corners of this putrid place. Rotting apples and a half-eaten fish were covered by mold and flies, and some kind of fluid acid had been spilled all over the place, causing the floor to be somewhat uneven by the holes it had burned here and there. It was an awful sight, this cluttered, chaotic cave. She obviously didn't know anything about housekeeping, but then again, maybe she just didn't care. Carfo was growling a little. "Shh," I whispered. "Let's just see what she does." As the witch was jumping around, she snatched a little pepper here or another bottle of vinegar there and tossed the stuff into the boiling substance in the cauldron. I didn't really care what she was making, though. I wasn't liking this for one bit. This witch either knew who would die and how, or she was the one who was planning to kill me. The thought crossed my mind that she was going to poison me with this liquid stuff.
I watched as she stirred and stirred, added in other ingredients, and laughed with an evil squeaky voice. Typical for a witch, I thought. Then Carfo barked. "Ruff, ruff." The witch turned our way.
"Oh, you were just the one I was looking for,"
she shouted. "You evil monster! You were going to kill me, weren't you?"
"I am still going to kill you, Cedric, and that stupid dog of yours, too."
"I don't understand. What did I do to you?"
"Oh, it's simple,"
the witch said.
"I've been living in this impoverished cave all my life. Nobody cared about me, and nobody gave me anything to hang in there. But I will give them something to be scared about. Perhaps now they will start caring."
"But that doesn't make any sense. What are you trying to accomplish by killing the villagers?"
"Fear,"
she said.
"If they become so afraid that they don't have the guts to leave their houses, they will eventually all leave. And when they do, I am going to live there. All their homes and buildings will be mine."
"So all you're trying to do is scaring them off so you can move in there? That just sounds dumb. And furthermore, I won't let you."
"Don't be too confident, young guy. I may be old, but I know what I'm doing. Here, take this."
She ducked and grabbed a splash potion. I chuckled and said, "Pfft, you're going to give me a drink or something?" Then she threw it. It exploded. Luckily, it exploded in front of me, and I had just enough time to dive behind a rock. What was that? Some kind of Molotov cocktail or something? This witch was crazy, throwing exploding splash potions and stuff.
"Here, take another one,"
she said as she threw one more. Another explosion. She missed again. Ha! But what was I going to do? I had to stop this evil witch from killing off the villagers until they would leave. "Carfo!" I yelled. "Go get her!" Carfo didn't need much more. He knew what I meant. This witch was throwing stuff at me, and he wasn't liking it any more than I did. "Ruff, ruff, ruff," Carfo said as he stormed at the witch. He jumped at her and pinned her to the floor.
"Ah, that stupid dog of yours!"
I came out of my hiding spot and ran at her. I had her. I finally had her, and she wasn't going anywhere. "Good boy, Carfo. So, you wicked woman, what do you say now?"
"You think you won?"
she said.
"You haven't seen anything yet. Why do you think I wrote those names on the wall? I am going to summon the beast that devoured the others, and there is no escaping it. Ha 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 ha!"
Chapter 6. The Skeleton. The witch pushed the dog away and quickly jumped to some soul sand she had in the corner. She put the soul sand into a T shape and placed 3 skeleton skulls on top of the 3 blocks. The last block was a skeleton skull. Some air blocks were holding the soul sand block in place. And then it happened. It grew larger and larger. It was flashing blue. Before I knew it, a big skeleton stood before me, gnashing its teeth and kind of imploding or something. The skeleton had 3 large heads and sharp teeth. Its piercing eyes looked straight at me. "Ah!" I screamed as I ran out of the cave. Carfo followed me, and so did my enemy. I hid behind a tree, panting heavily because of my previous quick sprint. I saw Carfo, but was the skeleton still there? Had that witch just been writing random names on the wall and then summoning the skeleton to send it out to kill them? That's what it looked like, at least. Anyway, I had to focus again. It didn't matter for now, because in the meantime, this monster was still following me. I looked with my head peeking around the tree trunk. Yep, it was still there, and getting closer and closer. Then I looked at Carfo. I looked at the tree. I looked at Carfo again. I had an idea. I bent over and picked up a branch from the ground and said, "Hey, Carfo, do you want to play fetch?"
"Ruff, ruff,"
Carfo said. These were happy barks. I could tell because he had a big smile on his face and his tail was wagging. "Then go play fetch," I said as I threw the stick towards the skeleton.
Carfo didn't wait for anything to happen. He sped at the skeleton and jumped right through the bones towards the stick, scattering the evil enemy's bones all over the ground. I ran towards them and looked at it. The bones were slowly coming together, as if the skeleton tried to regroup or something. But then I had another idea. Carfo, don't be satisfied with the stick, just get the bone. I picked up one of the skeleton's bones and threw it into the distance. Carfo happily ran after it and began to chew on it. And me, I kicked the skulls over and crushed some of the bones with my foot. Others I banged against the tree trunk to break them in half. It all seemed to work. The skeleton didn't get up anymore. The danger was over. Victory was mine. Oh, wait, but what about the witch? Let's get her, Carfo, I said, but Carfo didn't want to let go of the bone. He was having the time of his life chewing at that thing. Come on, dog, you can take the bone with you, no problem. Eventually, he just picked it up and followed me, especially since he noticed I was leaving without him. We ran inside and there she was, standing ready with another splash potion.
I wondered if you were smart enough to defeat my skeleton, she said. But now I am going to blow you up with this potion. Say goodbye.
She threw the splash potion at me, but those things only explode when they hit the ground. I guess, now that I look at it, that I owe my life to my dog. Because at that exact moment, Carfo jumped up and caught the splash potion, preventing it from hitting the ground. Good boy, I said. Now give it to me. But Carfo wouldn't let go. He was having too much fun. Let go. Down, boy. We pulled, and eventually I was able to rip it from his teeth. I looked at the witch and squinted my eyes. This is for the villagers you killed, I said in a low voice. I threw the splash potion back, which flew through the air and hit the ground right in front of the evil witch.
No!
She screamed, but it was too late. The potion exploded in her face, causing the cave ceiling to break, after which huge boulders fell on the witch and crushed her. Big vapors of smoke evaporated from the scene, and I waved some of it away with my hand, coughing in the meantime. I looked. The witch was gone. There was no more witch. She had been buried beneath the rocks from the cave. The home she so desperately tried to leave had become her grave. I hugged my dog. It was amazing how much Carfo had helped me in this adventure. Then I took one more look and went back to the village. Chapter 7. Safe. Back at the village, an enormous crowd is waiting for me. Well, as big as a crowd from my village can get, of course. Maybe a few hundred people. Maybe less. But suffice it to say that most of the villagers had gathered at the main square and were welcoming me back. We were worried, one of the women said. You were gone for such a long time, a man said. We were afraid that you were the next victim. Besides, my son said he saw your name on the wall with the other victims. What is going on here? I smiled. I felt right at home, seeing that the other villagers cared so much about me. I looked at my dog and at the multitude. They were all staring at me, waiting for an explanation. Well, one of them said. I started. I don't know if you even want to know everything that happened in that forest, and in the cave. What cave? Never mind. I hesitated for a moment. Should I tell them about the witch, the skeleton, and the splash potions? Perhaps that would only scare them, knowing that such things existed in or near their village. There were kids staring at me, too. One little girl even came to me and asked, Mister, did you die? No, I didn't die, I said with a happy face. I came close to dying, but all is well now. Then I came up with the following. Listen, everyone, I will tell you these 3 things. Number 1, whatever or whoever it was that killed our fellow citizens is gone. That person will never bother us again. So please, feel free to go out at night again and stop being afraid. Number 2, I don't think you have any idea how much wood and ore there is outside your village. If some of you want to explore a little in that direction, please let me know and I will be happy to guide you there. And number 3, I raised Carfo above me, putting the faithful but heavy German Shepherd on my shoulders. Oof! Number 3 is that Carfo saved my life and the village. If anyone deserves to be honored, it is him." All the villagers looked astonished. Some of them were trying to understand what I was referring to, but others just cheered. "Hooray for Carfo! Hooray for Cedric and Carfo!" What followed afterwards was a giant feast to which the entire village was invited. People were happy. They felt safe again. They were reassured that nobody would die anymore. The joyful atmosphere of peace had been returned. And Carfo? He received a whole bowl full of bones and meat for himself. He deserved it. The end.
Introduction. This is a story of a smart bunny named Bart. You may think that bunnies are cute and cuddly and good for nothing else. You are wrong, my friend. This bunny is intelligent and slick. Nobody recognizes his talent, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Find out more about this amazing rabbit that overcomes his fears and defeats a malicious creature from the woods, outsmarting everyone with his bunny brains. And yes, he is also somewhat cute and cuddly, but that's not the main point. Curious yet? Then don't wait, and take a look at the first chapter. Chapter 1. Home. Once upon a time there was a bunny. Hold on, wait a minute. What kind of a cliché beginning is this anyway? It's not a fairy tale. Far from that. This is an adventurous story of an awesome bunny who looked like a wimp at first but saves numerous bunnies from becoming an evil predator's victims. Okay, let's not spoil the rest. The main character doesn't know what's going to happen yet, so let's keep it a surprise. Meet Bart, a bunny from a huge family. That's right, his mother and father have 26 children, most of them small and fuzzy. There are 8 girl bunnies and 16 boy rabbits in his family. He loves them, but that doesn't mean he always likes them, especially when they steal food from each other. Bart's family is very chaotic, at least that's what Bart thinks. His mom keeps pointing out they are perfectly normal. In a general sense, Bart is pretty happy there. He gets along with his brothers and even sometimes with his sisters. Fortunately, rabbits don't make a lot of sounds, or else the echoes in the hole would be resonating and making all these big-eared animals deaf. There is lots of energy, though, as the 26 hyperactive bunnies in this family hop around all day, crawl in tiny spaces, and are rushing from one end of the home to another. "Give it back!" his sister yells. "It's mine!" "But I had it first," Bart says. "It doesn't matter. It's mine and I decide who can play with it." "Well, can I play with it?" Bart asks. "Let me think," his sister says. She pauses for 2 seconds. "No." "Mom!" Bart shouts. "What's wrong, Bart?" "Emily won't let me play with her doll." "Bart," Mom begins, "why would you want to play with a girly doll anyway? We found it in a dumpster and brought it home so she could play with it, not the boys." "But I want to use it," Bart insists. "For what?" "I want to invent a slingshot." "How can you make such a thing with a doll? I don't understand." "Well, you take the arms and attach them to the legs, which you glue to each other in one line. Then you use the hair, the string, and make a rope. The head should be taped underneath the feet. Wait, I can't take the hair because it's not flexible enough. I'll have to find an elastic shooting object or something similar." "Mom, Bart wants to break my doll's arms off," his sister cries. "You'll have to find something else to make a slingshot. This doll belongs to Emily." "But Mom, it's so perfect. I almost have it figured out. Besides, there is nothing else to use," Bart protests. "That's not true. You can use a branch," Mom replies. "It's not the same. It just isn't the same," he mumbles as he hops away. "Weird boy," Bart's mom thinks out loud. Bart jumps around the corner of their family's hole and bumped into his brother, Quentin. "Hey, you! I've been looking all over for you. Do you want to see the coolest thing ever?" he asks. "Sure," Bart answers. "Okay, follow me." The two of them hop out of the hole and end up above the ground, landing on soggy soil. They live on the border of a cornfield, so exiting their family's living space causes them to look up to hundreds of corn plants towering above them. "So tell me," Bart says,
What are you so excited about?
See this? It's a branch that looks like a slingshot. Bart is pretty happy with his brother's discovery, but now they need something to shoot it with. I know what you're thinking, Quentin says, and I think I know where to look. Come on. Chapter 2, The Colony. Bart's family lives on the edge of the colony. The rest of the rabbit colony is hidden in between the corn plants. It's like an entire city underground, a huge group of rabbits living in the same area. The bunny colony counts 5,000 rabbits, all hidden between the cornfields, the surrounding acres of land, and the bordering bushes with trees covering their hideouts. It's an insane number of animals living in the same crowded space, and nobody else even knows about it. It is under these circumstances that Bart finds himself wondering how significant he really is, although he certainly has an altruistic and somewhat deviant mindset. He is used to nothing else, however, and the colony is just part of his existence. The colony is controlled by the 6 elders, the chief rabbits who are put in charge because of their amazing experience and their insights in the circle of life. They know how to find food, organize groups, maintain a hierarchy, and solve disputes. All rabbits rely on their wisdom. If they make a mistake, panic arises, but they do not realize that this is exactly what will occur. Quentin leads Bart away from the vast fields, across the flowing canals, and over the stony bridge.
Aren't we a little far from home? Bart asks. I am not so certain Mom would approve of this. I heard the outside areas are dangerous.
Oh, don't be silly, Quentin says. We are just going to have some fun. Just come. We're almost there. They cross the deserted road and get closer to a distant farm. There, Quentin says, pointing at an item on the ground. Do you see it? Bart approaches the object and looks surprised.
It's a red piece of plastic?
He asks. Of course not. It's a hair tie, Quentin says.
What now?
A hair tie. You know, it's for people. Girls wear those things to keep their hair together in what they call a ponytail or something. If you ask me, it should be called a human tail, but that's not what matters. What matters is that it fits on the slingshot because it bends back. Bart sees it too. It's perfect. He is completely over the argument with his sister. Who needs a dumb doll anyway? Chapter 3, Playing. They have the slingshot. It works. Bart and Quentin tested it several times. All they have to do is put something in it, pull it back, and let it go. They think it is incredibly funny. The 2 brothers just shot rotting apples, rocks, broken pieces of corn on the cob, branches, and leaves. That one didn't work so well. Anything they can get their hands on gets launched into the air, followed by a loud bunny laughter.
This is awesome, Bart says.
It's the funniest thing I've ever done, Quentin agrees, but something is missing.
You're right, Bart says. We don't have a target. Shooting these things up in the air seems rather pointless by now. We need to have a challenge, a moving object.
Or animal, Quentin says with a smirk. They look at each other and start smiling. Let's go. I remember going to the farm over there. You are not going to believe how much fun we can have there, Quentin says.
No problem, Bart says.
They hop over tree trunks and through bushes and a wide, empty grass field. They wiggle their bunny bodies through the fence and enter the terrain of the said farmer. Here you can find the dumbest animals on the planet, Quentin says.
Which ones?
Chickens. They just fly and run around as if they don't know where they're going. And they panic too easily. It's hilarious. Do you have the slingshot?
Yes.
Okay, now let's find something to shoot. Aha!
Apricots, Bart says. Nice.
Both bunnies jump towards the apricot and collect a whole stack of them. After looking satisfied at their pile of fruit, they ready the slingshot and aim at a chicken's backside. Bam! The chicken jumps up frightened and starts running away. Ha ha ha! Did you see that? Quentin says. That was great. Let's load another one. Bart puts another apricot in the slingshot. It's all yours this time, Bart, Quentin says. Bart aims, lets go, and fires. Whabam! Another chicken gets struck on its back as it falls to the ground and hits its head on a pole after getting up.
Bart laughs. That was hilarious. Another one, quickly, before they all run away.
Bart loads the slingshot, hands it over to his brother. Quentin aims and... What is that? Chapter 4. The Danger. It is a fox which jumped in front of the chicken and blocks the shot of the two bunnies. Its fur is brownish-orange, its snout is long, and its eyes seem callous. It looks straight at the two brothers and then chases after a few chickens.
Do you think it saw us?
Bart asks.
I don't know,
Quentin answers.
It stared right in our eyes and then left. I don't understand why it didn't come after us.
Quickly, let's hide, Bart suggests. I don't trust this. Foxes are smart. They usually do things with a purpose.
From under a bush, the two rabbits try to catch a glimpse of what is going on in the chicken's den. They see feathers flying up, chickens running and flying, and they hear all kinds of weird sounds coming from the barn. Suddenly, the fox stands in front of them. Bart and Quentin leap back in fear.
Hello, little bunnies. Did you have fun shooting some chickens? The fox says.
Bart and Quentin stutter.
It's okay. Don't answer that. I was just playing with you. It's a lot of fun. I understand. Chickens are very stupid, and they run all over the place.
Is this fox being friendly, or is he hiding some secret plan underneath that friendly voice?
I don't want you to mistake my politeness for kindness, the fox explains. You know, little bunnies, I would do nothing rather than eat you alive right here.
Bart and Quentin become even more scared. This doesn't sound good.
Don't run. It's useless. I would be able to catch up with you in a heartbeat. I'm not going to eat you now because I want you to listen to me. I have 5 friends, other foxes, and they are really hungry. We know where your colony is. We have been watching them for quite some time. But it would be uncivilized to barge in there and start eating random rabbits without any notice. That's why I am going to give you a head start. I want you to go back to your colony and warn them. I doubt they will all be able to move in 30 minutes, but then at least some of you have the strength to flee. Let your leaders know we will attack in a half hour. This way, the strongest among you can prepare and leave the weaklings behind. Now go! Bart and Quentin hop away as fast as their legs can carry them. They run around the barn and hide behind the wall, panting heavily. Their hearts are beating like a bass drum, and their feet feel like they could fall off. What are they going to do? Chapter 5. The Farm.
We have to get out of here, Quentin says.
No, Bart says. Don't you get it? That's just what he wants. He is not telling us this without a reason.
But you heard him. He wanted to warn us. He said he would give us a head start, Quentin insists.
Yeah, right. Just because he doesn't want to be, let's see, how did he put it? Uncivilized? Give me a break.
But why would he tell us that? I don't understand.
Let's think for a minute, Bart says. What will happen if we run to the elders now and tell them? Bart asks.
I suppose they will tell the other rabbits, and they will start panicking and come out of their holes, Quentin says.
Precisely, Bart confirms.
Quentin looks at Bart. He still doesn't seem to get it. Bart just stares at him silently, waiting for the light bulb.
Aha, Quentin says enthusiastically. I get it. He wants them to come out of their holes so that it's easier for the foxes to catch them. It's a trap.
And we will use that trap against them, Bart says. But first we need some materials.
Yes, let's look what there is. I'm sure we can use some of the farmer's stuff.
Bart and Quentin go into the barn they are leaning against and see some pigs rolling in the mud, horses neighing as they usually do, and a few cows standing as if they are bored with life. In the corner of the barn they find some equipment. Most of the objects are shovels, rakes, and other gardening tools. There would be no way they could carry those with them all the way to the colony, but then they see a net.
We can use that, Bart says. We can easily carry this with the two of us, and we can catch the foxes in it.
Sounds like a plan,
Quentin says. Let's go.
Wait, Quentin shouts suddenly.
What's wrong? Bart asks.
What if the fox doesn't know where the colony is and was lying about it? Then he is just going to follow us there. I want to make sure nobody is following us.
Yes, but we are in a hurry too, Bart says. If we don't reach them in time, they will just attack, and the bunnies will stand no chance.
Maybe, but I don't think they will for some reason. I think he is just bluffing and waiting for everyone to come out of their holes anyway. Either way, I want to double check.
Okay. I will hop around a bit first to make sure he is really gone.
Chapter 6. Away. The fox is gone indeed. He probably wasn't lying about his knowledge of the whereabouts of the colony. But his plan of chasing the rabbits out of their holes by announcing the fox's raid was still certain, Bart thought. Therefore, it would be best for them to calmly tell everyone to stay in their holes and set a trap for the foxes. The two bunny brothers carry the net to the colony.
Hey, what are you two doing?
Their sister Clarissa asks.
Nothing.
What is that in your paws?
Nothing.
Why won't you tell me?
Look,
Bart said in a stern voice.
It's better if you stay home for a while. It's safer there. Just go and play with your toys.
Sure, but I want you to tell me later.
Sounds fair. We will, Quentin says. After bringing the net to the elders, Bart and Quentin request their attention.
What is it you have to say to us, young rabbit?
One of the elders asks.
We saw a fox, Bart begins, and he told us he and his friends will attack shortly.
The elders look a little pale.
Why would he tell you that?
One of them asks.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Bart agrees. We think he wants to lure us all out of our holes and make it easier for them to catch us.
I think so too. What do you suggest we do?
Well, Bart says, my brother and I carried this net here. If we can somehow set a trap for them, we can catch them with it. We just need some bait, and then we could let it drop on them.
Sounds like a plan.
The other chief rabbits agree.
Po, come here,
the old bunny commands. Another bunny hops over and stands, ready to receive orders.
Gather 10 rabbits. Have 7 of them go and tell the entire colony to stay in their holes for the next few hours. Tell them it's a safety exercise, nothing more. Then take the other 3 to hang up this net and place it above that open space over there.
Wait, Bart says, I have an even better idea.
After a while, the foxes appear in the cornfield. They passed various rabbit holes but are oblivious to their specific locations. Unaware of what is going on, they march forward, looking for any rabbit to catch as their prey. Chapter 8. Victory. The entire colony comes to watch the foxes, which are stuck in the giant hole that Bart and the others dug. Some of the rabbits are laughing, others are making funny faces at the foxes, taunting them and making silly comments. The foxes lost, and they know it. After all 5,000 bunnies take a look at the trapped predators, they turn to Bart, Quentin, and the others, and carry them on their shoulders. Yay! Long live Bart! It sounds on one side. Long live Quentin! It echoes elsewhere.
I can get used to this,
Bart says with a smile.
Just wait until you see what they have prepared for you,
Po says. The rabbits carry Bart and his brother to the edge of the cornfields near the river. They put them down and point at a humongous slingshot standing in front of the water.
How about it then?
Po asks.
Are you willing to try the slingshot that launches rabbits into the water?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Can I go first? Bart asks.
Sure, you are the hero of the day. Take a seat.
Bart sits into the slingshot. It's so big. He can't believe they made one this size. Leaning back, he feels more relaxed than ever. Before. The slingshot gets pulled back and shoots him into the air. Floating towards the sky before his drop into the river, Bart closes his eyes and enjoys the brisk wind in his face, thinking of all that had occurred. It was a happy day, perhaps one of the happiest days of his life. Splash! That was awesome. The end. Dogs for Kids, Diary of a Barking Dog, Adventure Stories for Kids, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Corey is a small dog, a Shiatsu. He isn't happy with his size, and the other dogs tease him regularly. But when he discovers something that nobody else has found, he is determined to tell everyone what he knows. His owner is far away when he, Corey, leaves the city, but he fights his way through the wild, unknown terrains in the outdoors. Listen to the diary of this little, courageous dog who finds himself in danger but saves the people around him. Chapter 1. Small and Big. It all started when I stood up for myself, when I had a big mouth and should have just walked away. But what do you do when other dogs are taunting you? Ignore them? I had tried that, but it had no effect. I didn't realize at the time, however, that I was going to be so far away from home after my encounter with those jerks. Corey is a cute name, which is what my owner called me. And even though it's not bad to be cute and fluffy, especially the fluffy part, I was faced with some serious enemies, even in my own neighborhood, the place I called home. Besides, it didn't help that I was so small either. That was probably the most important reason why they were picking on me in the first place. They needed someone to bully around so they could feel better about themselves. If you ask me, that's just a sign of low self-confidence. But oh well. My owner's name is Albert. He is a kind man, and he has always treated me well. I think he is in his 30s and still single. I know that he wanted a dog to keep him company, and I consider it my solemn duty to fulfill that role. I would jump up and run at him when he would come home from work. I would lick his face all over to show him my affection. He didn't always like that, but I didn't care. And yes, I would play fetch. I loved getting the stick when he threw it. Each time I felt a sense of accomplishment, like I brought back what was lost. We were best buddies. Albert would allow me to go out on my own. He didn't want to limit my freedom because he trusted me. "Go ahead," he would say. "Out you go. Do your thing, whatever that is. Come back through the doggy door." And then I would leave. I went to lots of different places. Sometimes I just wanted to mark my territory in the park or in the closest blocks to our house. At other times, I just became lazy, lying on my back under the sun, staring at the sky. My favorite places were, obviously, hanging out near the bakery and the butcher. They didn't allow me in, but occasionally they had some bread or meat left over and would throw me a bone, an old steak, or an expired loaf of bread. I would scrunch it up within minutes, always hoping for another treat. My taste buds were strong, and my sense of smell, too. There were other dogs in the neighborhood, too, and some of them had owners. But most owners didn't give their dogs as much freedom. They would hold them on a leash, so it was always harder to get to know them than the mongrels and tykes, the street dogs. I was around them more, I interacted with them more, and I saw them more often. They weren't always so friendly, though. I couldn't help but feel that some of these dogs were emotionally damaged because they didn't have an owner, a parent, or anyone else to take care of them. The streets were their habitat, and survival of the fittest was the rule. There were 3 dogs in particular that I always saw: Broomer, Finn, and Toby. Broomer was the leader of the little troop. He was a huge bulldog, and he wouldn't back down for anyone. He had told me countless times to toughen up, and stealing food was something he did regularly. Finn was his little minion. He was a terrier, and he wouldn't do anything without having the big Broomer tell him what to do. I didn't think Finn was mean when he was alone, but when he was with his abettor, he would blindly obey. Toby was a basset hound. He was an even bigger pushover than Finn, and I didn't think he had an actual spine, maybe not even physically. Okay, perhaps that is going too far, but either way, he had those big ears and would mope around all day. Whenever he didn't feel like listening anymore or joining the conversation, he would simply put his ears over his eyes and pretend that he wasn't there anymore. So there you have it, the terrible trio, the two-faced top dogs. And me? I was the underdog. I was the tiny laughingstock, so I usually tried to avoid them, but somehow I bumped into them almost every day. And the day it happened, the day it all went wrong, was no different.
"Oh, look who we have here," Broomer said. "What was your name again? Choco? Cory Nut? Chokeall?"
Finn was laughing.
Ha 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 ha! Cory Nut, you're a nut, little dog.
I wasn't amused. "It's Cory," I said. "You know very well that that's my name. And Finn, how can I be a nut and a dog at the same time?" He stopped laughing because he realized his remarks weren't clever at all. Broomer, on the other hand, stepped forward and got in my face.
"Are you trying to be smart?"
he asked. "No, of course not. I'm just letting you know that my name is Cory."
"I know," he said. "It's stupid. It sounds like a name for a sissy."
"I am no sissy," I said. "Why can't you guys just leave me alone?"
"We could if we wanted to, but this is more fun," Broomer answered. "Besides, you deserve it. You're so tiny and weak."
Finn was laughing again, but Toby was hiding behind the other two. He didn't want anything to do with this. He simply wouldn't stand up for himself and follow these two idiots wherever they went. I had had enough, though. I was sick of their belittling comments, and I was going to show them just how strong I was. Chapter 2. Bark! Bark! "Oh yeah?" I said. "Say that again if you dare." Broomer was surprised. He didn't expect me to stand up to him like that. He wasn't impressed, though. His ego wasn't the only thing that was 3 times bigger than I was. He came closer and asked,
"Does this mean you want to fight me? How pathetic. Listen, I am going to give you one chance to get out of here before I lose my patience, and I am going to pretend I didn't hear what you said. How does that sound?"
"Pathetic indeed. Bring it on," I said. He laughed. The other 2 dogs laughed too, although I didn't think they saw it as something funny. They were just laughing because he did, and they were afraid he would rebuke them for not laughing with him. Broomer turned around, pointed at me, and kept laughing for another 10 seconds. Then suddenly he swung his paw at me. Whack! It hit me hard. I was smacked to the floor. It hurt a lot, but I got back up. When I looked in front of me, Broomer was standing at a distance, taunting me and making signs for me to come at him. I wanted to say something mean, something clever, but all I could come up with was, "Bark! Bark! Bark!"
"Typical," he said. "Dogs that bark don't usually bite. Here, let me show you how it's done."
His growl startled me. I stepped back. I didn't want to get hit in the face again. I was afraid. How did I get myself into this mess? I should have just shut up. Then I would have been fine. Now I had to defend myself against this giant. It seemed impossible at the time, and I wouldn't find out about my true strength later because I didn't even try.
"So scared," he said. "Come on, boys. Let's demonstrate this little dog with his big mouth what we do with the weaker elements of the earth."
The 3 dogs came at me and surrounded me. I didn't know what to do, so I just froze. I stood still and let them do whatever they wanted. I was more terrified than ever before. They were closing in. They were getting really close now.
"Grab him,"
Broomer said. They moved forward and picked me up, after which they carried me to a nearby metal dumpster in one of the city's back alleys.
"Get rid of this cheeky chihuahua," Broomer said.
As they threw me into the big dumpster, I tried to explain to them that I was a shiatsu, not a chihuahua, but it didn't matter. They threw me in and closed it. Then they laughed and ran away. Chapter 3. Dark Shades. There I was, loathing in self-pity and feeling inadequate and lonely. I was a loser. They had been seeing right through me. Perhaps it would be better for me to stay at home from now on, no matter how much I loved the outdoors. It just wasn't safe. I wasn't able to defend myself. And now I was stuck. I didn't see a way out of that dumpster. Well, I saw the way out, but I couldn't get out because the lid was so heavy. The only thing I was able to do was watch through a crack and hope that somebody would come by and find me. If I would see someone, I would bark, of course, to catch their attention. It sounded like a good plan at first, but for hours on end, nobody came. It became dark, and I wasn't happy that I had to miss out on my evening dinner and comfortable bed. Albert was probably worried. But then I heard something. It wasn't a voice, but it was more like a soft moaning. What was that? It didn't sound like people. I looked through the cracks, but only saw some shady figures. They kind of looked like humans, but something was telling me that they weren't the same. They were something else. When one of them came closer, I recognized it. It was a dark shade. Behind the dark shade was another and another. There were at least 4 or 5 more. It was still somewhat obscure in the middle of the night, and they didn't know I was there, but I could definitely tell that this wasn't good. What were dark shades doing in the city anyway? People had always tried to fight them. If anyone knew they were in the city, they would probably sound a big alarm or something. I watched through the crack as the dark shades left the alley and turned, going into another street. I made sure to keep still so they wouldn't notice me. After that, I found renewed strength. I just had to warn the people against these creatures. So I pushed, and finally, I was able to lift the dumpster lid just enough to crawl through. I followed the dark shades' tracks. I went into the same street that I had seen them turn into, but I didn't see them. I wondered where they could have gone, but it was pointless. There were a myriad of little streets and alleys in this part of town, all overshadowed by the big apartment buildings and business offices. What was I to do? There wouldn't be any point in telling anyone about it if I couldn't even point them out. I thought for a moment, then I had it. I had an idea. Chapter 4: The River. I walked back to the alley with the dumpster I had been in. There had to be some evidence, something to find, something to sniff. Aha! I said, when I saw some tracks on the ground. I sniffed them as hard as I could. I wanted to find those dark shades so badly. I sniffed again, and after a while, even when I closed my eyes, it was as if a vapor of scent emerged in front of me, flying away into the direction of the dark shades. That's where I need to go, I said. I started running. The smoke I saw in front of me, the one I smelled, was invisible to everyone else. Not that there were many other people or animals at this hour, but anyway, it led the way, and I knew where to go. I followed my nose, and it led me outside of town. I was a little reluctant to go there, since I had always been in the city. I had never left and gone through the woods, but I was about to. And after breathing deeply for a minute, I pressed forward, relying completely on my instincts and the belief that everything in life would be all right. The forest was dark, and I couldn't see where I was going all the time, so I tread carefully, making sure I didn't step into a trap or something else my imaginative mind reached to. But I wasn't careful enough. After a few hundred feet, I slid. It was slippery everywhere, but this little patch of mud made me slide down the hill so fast that I couldn't stop. I even accidentally missed all the trees on my path and landed in the river. Ouch, I thought to myself when I hit the bottom of the river. One of the sharp rocks had cut through my skin and scratched me up. I swam up and gasped. I considered myself lucky. At least I hadn't bumped my head at the bottom of the river. But I still couldn't reach the riverside. I was being taken away by the strong current to who knew where. It sounded bad. I heard something loud, something heavy and gigantic. Was that a waterfall? Oh no! I was going to get splattered all over the protruding rocks at the bottom and on the side. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I screamed. But before I could say another word, I tumbled down the waterfall and ended up 15 feet below the surface. I quickly swam up and went to the riverbed. Then I looked around me. Hey, what was that? Were those dark shades? Chapter 5. The Trip Home. I squinted my eyes and looked into the distance. By now, the sun had almost risen, and its shiny rays were slowly emerging and portraying the figures in front of me. I hid behind a tree and looked at them again. Yes, those were dark shades, dozens of them. It seemed like they were living there, the monsters. I just knew it wouldn't be long before they would sneak into the city again and attack some of the good people there. What was I going to do? I had to tell someone about this place so that they could eradicate these shadowy dark shades. Then I saw something that would be the key to this successful mission. The dark shades were standing next to a cliff where an avalanche would be easy to start, with the right means, of course. But I couldn't do that by myself. I was too small. I couldn't possibly lift or move a boulder on top of the ledge. I had to get help. Then I looked around and realized it was rather difficult to get out of here. I wondered how the dark shades got to the city, seeing that it was such a bowl in here, as it were, without any exits. I took courage and thought of the only thing I could do. I was going to climb the wall, the least steep part I could find. When I thought of the idea, I laughed a little inside my head. The craziness of it astounded me, but for some reason I thought I could do it. I looked up. It seemed incredibly high. But I was going to do it. I climbed onto the first rock, then onto another, and pulled myself up with my fluffy paws, amazed at how strong I actually was. It gave me confidence. Each time I reached another height, each time I pulled myself up, I knew I had been underestimating what I was capable of. When I reached the top, I was proud of myself, extremely proud. This was my first time of climbing rocks and cliffs. It was amazing what I had done. I looked down and saw the vile monsters that were plotting against the city. My city. You won't get away with this, whatever it is. You won't get away with this, whatever it is you are planning to do, I said softly. This is where it ends. Chapter 6. Warning. After I climbed up, I looked down one more time and repeated the plan in my mind. I was going to go to my owner and have him think of an idea. It was brilliant because all I had to do was showing him where the dark shades were. I found my way back to the city and went to my house, but something was wrong. The door was open and some of the lights were on. I went inside, suspecting that the dark shades might have done something to the place, or a burglar or something. When I came into the living room, my owner was lying on the floor. He was knocked out, so I began licking his face. He woke up.
"Corey!" he exclaimed. "It's so good to see you. I have been looking for you all over town. Where have you been?"
I barked, just to let him know that I heard him.
"You are probably wondering what happened, don't you, little buddy? Well, there was a knock on the door. When I opened up, a few dark shades came in and punched me to the ground. That's the last thing I remember. I guess they trashed the place after that and stole some stuff. It's been happening more lately. The police have spotted dark shades in the suburbs and even in the downtown area. They don't know what to do. Oh well, I guess you don't understand what I am saying anyway, but I just need to talk to myself to line up my thoughts and tell myself it's going to be okay." "Bark, bark," I said with a happy smile. "What am I talking about? Of course I will be okay. You're with me, huh, buddy?" He grabbed me and rubbed my head a little. "If we could only find out where those monsters are coming from," he continued. "The police have searched everywhere, but they haven't picked up a trail yet." That's when I really went crazy. I started barking and barking. I ran around in little circles and pulled his pants with my teeth. "Are you trying to tell me something, Corey?" Albert asked. "Did you find something?" "Bark, bark," I said. "Well then show me, silly. Let's go. We'll clean up the mess later." He took his coat and put it on. After that, he followed me out the door through the city streets. It was still early in the morning, and it was moderately quiet. I ran into the direction of the forest where I had seen the dark shades, but on my way there, I saw something else going on. In the corner of a dark alley, A dark shade was standing in front of Broomer. What was he doing there? As always, Finn and Toby were right behind him, hiding from the dark shade. The dark shade made a moaning sound and was about to come at them. But I had found some new courage. I had measured my strength and my guts. I wasn't going to let the dark shade attack them like that, even these bullies. They were still dogs, and as such, I had the instinct of protecting my own kind against evil. "Where are you going, Corey?" my owner asked, seeing that I ran into the alley. I jumped onto the dark shade's neck and began growling and biting him. The dark shade spun around and tried to shake me off, but after a little while, he thought I was getting really annoying, so he ran away. As soon as I discovered the dark shade was trying to escape, I let go and looked at the three dogs. Broomer got scared. He had never seen a dog as little as me take on a creepy dark shade like that. Dark shades were a big mystery to him, and their freaky behavior had always been the source of nightmares to him. So when I bravely attacked this dark creature, I immediately earned his highest respect. "Well, don't you have something to say?" I asked.
Thank you," Broomer said. "I owe you one."
"That's what I thought. And don't ever touch me again," I said.
No," Broomer stuttered. "Sorry."
"I don't have time to stick around," I said. "But consider this a lesson. See you later." I took off, running as fast as my owner could run. I occasionally waited for him to catch up or catch his breath. All that time, I was amazed that he trusted me so much that he followed me wherever I was going. It took a while, too, and I could tell that he had to do something about his weight. Are we finally there?" he asked, after running through the forest for a few minutes. "Bark, bark," I said. I hoped he understood that it meant almost, just a little longer. And at last we came to the cliff. He looked down and saw all the dark shades standing there. He was impressed. He didn't know what to think at first. "Wow," he said. "All this time they were just there. We could easily kill them if we caused an avalanche, but how would we do that?" I barked. I couldn't do anything else. Fortunately, the dark shades were too far away to hear us. I hoped my owner would figure it out by himself. And he did. "Dynamite," he said suddenly. "If we just put some dynamite at the top, we can make it explode and cause the other rocks to fall down on them. I am going to get it immediately. Come, Corey." We ran back to the city and searched for dynamite. We found some at the police office. We had to pull a few strings and convince the head of the department to come along and support our plan, but once they heard that it was about the dark shades, they were all ears.
"We've been trying to blast those creatures away for weeks," the head officer said. "If you can show me where they are, I will gladly blow them away or bury them under a few rocks."
With that being said, a few cops followed us to the forest. Albert had already forgotten where to turn, but I knew the way, so they all followed me. "That's a smart dog you have there," one of the officers said. "Thanks," Albert said. "I am proud of him. He knows what he is doing." I led them straight there, and when they saw those dozens of dark shades, they didn't hesitate and took Albert's idea. Not much longer, they installed the dynamite and blew up the cliff. Boom! The cliff broke into 1,000 pieces and became one of the biggest avalanches in history. Huge blocks and boulders were falling down, and the dark shades were all buried beneath the debris. It was spectacular to watch, and it certainly felt like a victory to all of us. Those dark shades wouldn't bother us anymore. Chapter 7. Good. The police were grateful to have such an intelligent dog in their city. At least that's what they said. Albert received a reward, more than enough money to repair everything in his house, and I got a big fat bone. When I came home, I played fetch with Albert again, after he cleaned everything up. We were in the park, and he shared his lunch with me, which was nice because it was a delicious brisket beef sandwich with barbecue sauce on it.
Yummy. And then, when we were just sitting there, chilling and eating our scrumptious meal, I saw Broomer, Finn, and Toby. They followed the smell and came to us. I didn't growl. I didn't even move. I was curious of what they had to say to me.
Broomer is a wimp, Toby said. I am in charge now, but I look up to you, Corey. If you want to hang out with us, you can, right, Finn? Of course. Right, and this dumb bulldog won't bother you anymore, will you, Broomer?
No, Toby.
What? Toby said in a bossy voice, holding up his big ear. I can't hear you.
No, Toby, Broomer said again.
Good. Anyway, can I have some of that sandwich? Toby asked.
Sure, I said. Just ask my owner. I doubt that he will say yes, but you can always try. And there we were, 3 dogs begging for food, and only 1 dog receiving it from his favorite owner, which was me. Life was good. The end.